Play action fake to Brown. Stafford wants to go for it all right here. He throws to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Georgia wins! Mikey Henderson on the reception. One and done, baby. And there's a huge dog pile in the far corner of the end zone. And that was Scott Howard, I believe, in what was his first call for the Georgia Bulldogs last year as they won in overtime in Alabama. You know, each and every week we appreciate you all being here with us on Raycom Sports to watch SEC football. But if you're out in your car, you know that there are some legendary voices in SEC football, and today we bring you the sounds of the game.
42! Hut!
Here's the give up the middle, big hole. Coffee. Glenn's going to race it. Are they going to catch him? To the 40, 35, 30. The race is on 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown. 87 yards. Glenn Coffee.
Lee is going to throw. And he does. And it is caught by the foul. And he scores!
Knocked out of his hand. Loose on the ground. It's picked up by Parade Jerry. He's to the 2. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. Ole Miss.
Straight drop. Pass caught. Intercepted. Ryan Hamilton near sideline 40. He may go. Midfield. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Ryan Hamilton takes it to the house.
And Cunningham will kick it away. High. Not real deep. James running up, making the catch, and James to the 25. James breaks a tackle at the 27, gets to the 30. James to the 35. James to the 40. James to the 50. And there goes James at the 30. There goes James. James will go all the way for another punt return touchdown against Tennessee. He's done it again. Oh, my.
Toss sweep to Marino, the tail, at the 10, at the 5. He leaps, he dives. Touchdown, no shot. He jumped from the 3 and just propelled himself right into the corner of the end zone. He looked like Superman that time.
And once again, that was Scott Howard on the Georgia Bulldog Radio Network. You know, for the past year or so, he has been splitting time with the legendary Larry Munson, who announced earlier this week that he had called his last game on the Bulldog Radio Network. A sad occasion for all of us in the SEC, but thank goodness we still have the memories. He had a gig playing the piano with Tommy Dorsey's big band.
Yeah, Dorsey was a real thrill.
His broadcasting career got its start in Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Boy, and you talk about cold, man.
He hosted a successful fishing show for 28 years.
I've had days when I laid on the floor of a boat and slept, and it would be snowing like crazy while we were running up the lake, 80 miles an hour.
But for all that he's done in 86 years, Larry Munson will always be known as the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs.
The bench is unconscious. He kicked the whatchamacallit out of it. Driving and running with those big thighs. My God, a freshman. Run, Lindsey. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Lindsey, stop. Lindsey, stop. Lindsey, stop. We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose.
But basically, if you're a Bulldog, if you're a Georgian even, the guy you remember most has been Larry Munson, because he started in 1966, so we're into the second generation of kids who never knew anything but Munson.
In 1966, Munson came east to announce games for the new Atlanta Braves. While getting ready for his first spring training, he found out about an opening up the road in Athens.
And it was right on the front page of the Atlanta paper, a little box that the Georgia announcer was going to go to CBS and do part of the CBS football package. And Georgia was taking applications for the announcer.
And so began Larry Munson's 42-plus year run as the voice of the Bulldogs.
We're a minute away from kickoff, so we'll throw it to the legendary voice of the Georgia Bulldogs to tell you all about tonight's ball game, Larry Munson.
Very crucial, critical football game here for both of them. Tennessee a favorite, but not a large favorite. After all, they are on the road. They are here.
Once you hear his voice, for so many in the state of Georgia, you know it's football season. It sends chills down your spine to know that it's fall and it's Georgia football season.
But when it comes right down to it, it's his calls that have made it.
And up to Herschel, there's a hole. 5, 10, 12. He's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker, just driving and running with those big thighs. My God, a freshman.
But if you win just enough and you get a few big plays, it makes the announcer really sound good. And the people think he can do no wrong. He's hanging the moon. But they don't realize it's up to that ball club to win the game. That's what makes you sound good.
Gonna throw and a run, complete to the 25, to the 30. Lindsey's got 35, 40. Lindsey's got 45, 50, 45, 40. Run, Lindsey, 25, 20, 50, 10, 5. Lindsey's got, Lindsey's got, Lindsey's got. Touchdown, my God, a touchdown. We threw it to Haynes. We just stepped it with 5 seconds left. My God almighty, did you see what he did?
And all of a sudden this battery of words come out about we just crushed their face, we stepped on their face with a hobnail boot, and now the game's over. You know, what is a hobnail boot?
We just dumped it over, it's 26 to 24. We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose.
I didn't know what a hobnail boot was, and I don't know why. I could have said army boot, but I didn't. I said hobnail. And I really had in my mind, I think the black boots that the German stormtroopers wore, what they call jack boots.
Those phrases, some people will think, well, how does he rehearse that? How does he practice that? He doesn't. It just flows.
The hobnail boot has become my favorite. Now, Knoxville won't appreciate that because I know their reaction to the call, as I've heard from them many times. But that became the famous call. And when you get near the end of everything, you don't really want to quit. You got to realize the age factor has crept in now. So if you think about yourself like that, or somebody comes up and says, I've been listening to you for years and years, that's age now. And you're right on the end of the diving board now. You've walked right out on that end. And of course, I will miss it. And what I've never heard, never, is a radio broadcast of a Georgia game. And that's one of the first things I'm going to do. I'm going to go the lake where I keep my tackle on my boat and stuff, and I'm going to get on that lake, and I'm going to listen to the radio broadcast and just see what the devil it sounds like.
Whatever it sounds like, it won't be anything like what we've heard for the last 42 plus years.
23, 22, 21, clock running. Oh, look at the sugar falling out of the sky. Look at the sugar falling out of the sky.
Boy, so many great calls by Larry Munson. As I said at the top, thank goodness we have the memories. We understand that Larry is home this weekend, surrounded by his family, celebrating his 86th birthday. While we'll miss seeing it, Larry, happy trails, my friend, and good luck. When we come back, we've got a lot more to go as we get you set for the Gators and the Rebels here on Raycom Sports.
Allstate's SEC Football Today has been brought to you by Allstate, proud sponsor of college football and the 75th Allstate Sugar Bowl. Are you in good hands? And by Outback Steakhouse.
There'll be 90,000 plus on hand here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Florida Field to see the Gators, ranked 4th in the country, take on the Ole Miss Rebels. That kickoff coming up in just a few minutes as Dave Neal and Dave Archer will join us. And in order to enjoy this game like no other experience that you've ever had, all you got to do is to get jacked. Looking for more information about today's SEC games? Dive into Jacked. It is our live, interactive, free sports stop on the web at raycomsports.com. Click on the Jacked icon for live stats, drive summaries, photos, news, and more on all of today's SEC action, including this game here in Gainesville. It'll be a game where field position is going to be a huge key. Taking care of the football is going to be a huge key. Remember this. Florida, #1 in the nation. They're the only team that hasn't turned the ball over yet. They've got a +9 in the turnovers. While Ole Miss has had trouble keeping the ball, they are -6 in turnovers. And, of course, that could be the big difference in a game like this. Dave Neal and Dave Archer set to call it for you in just a minute. My thanks to our producer, Lance Stewart, and thanks to you for joining us here on Raycom Sports. Kickoff between the Gators and the Rebels comes your way next.
The following is a special presentation of Raycom Sports, home to regional college football and basketball.
Rascal Flatts.
And it's time for some SEC football, baby.
On Raycom Sports.
It is the 2008 SEC home opener for the Florida Gators after a big win in Knoxville last weekend. The Gators return home. They march their way into Florida Field, the Swamp, as they get set to take on Houston Nutt's Ole Miss Rebels, a club that comes in 2-2 on the year, while the Gators are ranked 4th in the country and have yet to have been beaten. They are 3-0. And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I'm Dave Neal. So glad you can be with us on our all-tell game of the week right here on Raycom Sports. The Florida Gators seem to be winning the battles in a lot of different ways, but one of the battles that Urban Meyer wanted to win when he became head coach at Florida was to dominate the home field. Well, since he has been the head coach of Florida, they are 21-1. They will try to make that 22-1 with a victory today over this Ole Miss club that comes in here much better than people would have expected. Well, Dave Archer joins us. And Dave, when you begin to talk about this Florida team on their quest for a national championship, a lot of people want to talk offense, but they've been getting it done on the defensive side of the football.
Really have been, and it's been about a change of attitude, a change about getting to the football. Charlie Strong said, how do I make that change? I got a young football team. He went back to 06 and found some tape of the national championship team. The team held Ohio State did his 82 yards of offense in the title game. He said, that's how I want you to play, and that's what they've been doing. Spikes is their middle linebacker. He leads them in tackles, and he's a holdover of that team.
Yeah, led him a year ago with over 130 tackles last season. The guy is a monster on the defensive side of the football. We'll be trying to slow down this Ole Miss offense, and Houston Nutt in his first year has brought some offense with him, over 400 yards a game, but it begins and ends with this young man, Jevon Sneed.
They're excited about Jevon Sneed. He was a parade All-American in Texas, went to Texas, transfers to Ole Miss, and now he's ready to play. Threw 4 touchdown passes earlier in the year against Wake Forest. But over the last couple of weeks, Jevon's beginning to struggle. That's what happens with a young quarterback. 6 interceptions in his last 2 ball games. They're hoping that Jevon Sneed that played against Wake Forest shows up today.
All right, with just a couple of moments before kickoff, let's take a look at our Toyota keys to the game.
Ole Miss will have to take care of the football. 6 turnovers against Vandy last week. 2 of those down close in the scoring zone. And for Florida, not the spread offense, but spread it out and get all these weapons involved. Tim Tebow has a plethora of people to get the football to. He needs to get all of them involved today.
Well, SEC football is presented in high definition where available by Raycom Sports. Third member of our team, as always, Mr. Dave Baker. He's down on the sidelines. Let's check in with him. Buzz?
Hey, Dave-O, the place is rocking here in Gainesville. The Gators win the toss. They defer, so that means Ole Miss is on offense. And to Oxford with Houston Nutt is the Wild Rebel formation, as it's now called. Dexter McCluster, the H-back, will line back up. They've run this formation 22 times, and they're averaging over 10 yards a carry. To show how successful it can be in different places, look at what happened in the NFL this past Sunday. David Lee, the former Arkansas offensive coordinator, took it to Miami. It was the former Auburn Tiger, Ronnie Brown, who ran wild with it, and they're a big upset against New England. They're going to have that today, Dave, to keep this high-powered Florida offense off the field.
All right, Buzz, we are underway as Florida defers. They will kick off, and Mike Wallace takes the kickoff out to the 20 and stumbles out to the 21-yard line. This Ole Miss offense, over 400 yards a game. Dave Archer, they've got some guys who can run with the Gators.
Well, you heard Buzz just talk about the Wild Rebel formation. Dexter McCluster will be a major part of that, taking the snap at quarterback. We'll see that today. And Michael Orr, the big left tackle, he's a kid that actually probably could have gone to the NFL last year. Wanted to come back and play for Coach Nutt.
So Jevon Sneed under center, handoff. Maybe a yard for Cordera Eason. Let's take a look at this Gator defense that has been the talk of the town of late.
Jermaine Cunningham is a guy that's coming around. He's becoming the Derek Harvey type of pass rusher that they need in this defense. Dustin Doe coming off of injury, Dave. Did not play against Tennessee last week. He's back in the lineup. And Joe Hayden, a guy that was victimized last year in this Ole Miss game by Mike Wallace. He's looking for revenge today.
A good secondary. If they can get some turnovers, those guys all have the capability of taking it back to the house, as we saw in the opener against Hawaii. Another run. Gets maybe a half yard. It's Eason again, and now Ole Miss looking at a 3rd down and call it about 10 yards. But Jevin Sneed, Dave Archer, we talked about it, his last 2 games have been somewhat of a struggle. Against Vanderbilt, just 12 of 25 with those 4 interceptions. But if you go back 2 games, that's 6 interceptions, and he's just right around 50% completion.
Well, it's a tough situation to be in as a quarterback now at 3rd and long against the Gator defenses is fast and likes to bring pressure. Joe Hayden now, the corner, will slide in and play the nickel spot.
Out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. They'll swing it near side. Pass is caught by McCluster, but he is denied. That'll bring up a 4th down opportunity, and the Gator D holds.
Florida just plays zone. 4-man rush, plays zone. Makes Snead throw the ball underneath and then come up and make the play. Marky Anderson, the guy who comes up and makes it.
Rob Park will punt it away, averaging just a shade over 37 yards a kick. And, of course, the dangerous man is back to return at the 25. Brandon James already with 2 punt returns for touchdowns this season, and he did one last week, 78 yards against the Volunteers. James runs up to the 35, bobbles it, called for the fair catch. So Florida will scrimmage from the 35-yard line on their opening possession. And a good place to start. You look at Brandon James against Tennessee put together a nice little afternoon returning kicks. But, I mean, he seems like that happens every single Saturday when he's back returning punts for this. He's such an – it's like you get an extra down on offense.
Boy, that's a great way to put it. He's an extra weapon on offense. And so often that offensive group gets ready to run on the field, and they have to backtrack because Brandon James is running to the end zone.
There's Tim Tebow. His numbers aren't nearly as impressive as they were a year ago in his Heisman Trophy campaign, but still coaches say that he's been very effective. First pass going deep. It is incomplete. Take a look at these offensive lineups for Tennessee. Percy Harvin seems to be getting healthy. That's bad news for the opponents.
Yeah, what can you say about Percy Harvin? We'll see him carry the ball a little bit more in the backfield, where he averages 9 yards a carry over his career. And Jim Tart now back in lineup. Missed the first couple of games, was back against Tennessee. He, as Urban Meyer said, is the stabilizer of my offensive line.
Aaron Hernandez, the tight end. That handoff goes to Keyston Moore. He got maybe 2 on the play. Patrick Trahan brings him down. Speaking of Patrick Trahan and this Ole Miss defense, Parade Jerry healthy. That's good news. And also Greg Hardy's not in the lineup, the starting lineup, but he will play quite a bit today.
You talk about an offensive weapon. Parade Jerry got in the end zone last week against Vanderbilt. Ashley Palmer, athletic linebacker, runs everywhere. And Jamarcus Sanford, he's a guy, he says, I said, who do you pattern yourself? Who do you like? He says, I like Troy Polamalu and Bob Sanders.
Yeah,
not bad.
They're okay. So out of the shotgun on a 3rd down and long for Florida. Across the middle. That pass is caught. And how about Riley Cooper? Or excuse me, that's Harvin. I think he picked up the first down. That's going to be very close. They're actually going to say it's about a foot or 2 shy of the first down. I thought he got over the 45.
A little short drag underneath, catches the football. Now, this is a linebacker draped on Harvin's back. And he's going to carry Adam Walker for what looks like the first down. Very close, just short. The good job of Harvin getting north and south. Alan Walker there.
Well, Urban Meyer rolling the dice. 4th and very short. Something tells me 15 might keep this. And he does, and he picks up the first down. Tim Tebow tackled by Tony Fine, but not before he gets out over the 45-yard line.
Now, this is not a surprise that Tebow carries on his 4th and short here. Tebow carried the ball 27 times last year for 166 yards against this Ole Miss defense in a great performance.
You know, I think Florida and Urban Meyer, some people might say going for it back in your own territory, but they've been relegated to just about 47 plays a game, and he doesn't want to punt the football away. I think he's just trying to get some plays. Here's Harvin dancing around to midfield. Well, you talked about it a minute ago. The game that Tim Tebow put together last year against this Ole Miss club was maybe the game that got him on that Heisman watch He went to Oxford and had a career day, 27 carries, 166 yards on the ground. He ended up with 427 yards of total offense, which is the 6th best all-time at Florida. I mean, he was a one-man wrecking crew. And they don't win the football game without Tim Tebow on that final drive.
The impressive part about it is he was the guy carrying the ball late in the game to try to salt the game away.
Little option to Harvin. There goes Percy. Down to the 37-yard line.
Well, he checked to the line of scrimmage, looked to the sideline to see if they wanted to change things, and they went to the option play out of this spread look. Percy Harvin is the guy that gets the pitch, and Johnny Brown comes over to make the tackle, and boy, that's a touchdown saving tackle.
Percy Harvin, of course, bothered by a bad heel for a long time. It wasn't just last year. It's been an ongoing problem for him for a number of seasons. Finally got it fixed with some surgery. A little slow to get back, but boy, he looks like he's 100%. Chris Rainey now loses a couple of yards. Marcus Tillman leading the way defensively for the Rebels. There's Aaron Hernandez, a little slow to get up. Aaron, the tight end out of Bristol, Connecticut. Boy, the coaches love him. You're talking to Urban Meyer. His eyes light up when you brought up Aaron Hernandez.
Lost Cornelius Ingram in the preseason. He's a great weapon for them. They said, what are we going to do at tight end? Well, they had Aaron Hernandez waiting for the opportunity. All he's done is catch a couple of touchdown passes, but he's a little hobbled after that running play.
As you see in their last 2 opening drives, their last 2 games have resulted in touchdown catches by Hernandez. Tebow stands tall, fires. Pass is caught down at the 28-yard line by Lewis Murphy. That'll be about 1.5 yards or 2 shy. Kendrick Lewis from a safety spot makes the tackle.
Good job of Tim Tebow standing in the pocket. A lot of times you take off, he would have took off and run with that maybe last year. Now standing in the pocket trying to get the football. They talked about some of the number changes for Tebow running the football, but there was a classic example of him standing in and delivering it to a receiver down the field.
So 3rd down, we'll call it 1 yard. Cooper in motion, but they'll hand it to Rainey. Nothing happening. I think he lost 1 yard. And now Urban Meyer will have another decision. 4th down and maybe 1.5 yards or 2 on this one as Gerald Poe clogs it up in the middle.
Gerald Poe, huge body in there, 340 pounds. Just blows up the play. Rainey going nowhere. Chris Rainey, a smallish back. Patrick Trahan, the linebacker, also involved in the play. But the big fella, Poe, 340 pounds.
Wasn't waiting for him to play for this Ole Miss team. He initially signed with the Rebels in 2005, but it's taken a while due to some academic issues. Tebow on 4th down. Pressure comes. He's hit hard. Incomplete. And the Rebels stand tall and stop the Gators, and they will get the football back.
Dialed up some pressure, Dave. Came with some pressure, sped up Tebow's thought process. Chris Bowers in on the play.
Ole Miss getting it done defensive. Back in a moment.
The All-Cal SEC Game of the Week is being brought to you by Chick-fil-A, by Advance Auto Parts, by Ruby Tuesday, by Chevrolet, by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, and by Crystal.
The new Heavener facility here at Florida Field. A little museum, a good history on Florida football, something that Urban Meyer had really been wanting to have. And boy, it's a beautiful building they have added to the stadium. Ole Miss takes over. Dexter McCluster, direct snap to him out of that wild rebel formation. And Buzz talked about it at the top of our show. It's been successful in terms of averaging about 10 yards per play this season, but that time the Gators snuffed it out.
Well, it's a formation that's kind of caught fire across the country. If you watched any of the USC game the other night, USC deployed it, and it's been there's several NFL teams that are using it now as well.
It's basically just to get your playmakers to football. Brandon Bolden this time out near the 40-yard line.
We talked to Charlie Strong yesterday, David, about what they were going to do defensively against us, and they were going to check to a base look. They were just going to go to a 4-man line, 3 linebackers, just play it straight up and let their speed run to the play. A.J. Jones makes the play there, but they're not going to do anything crazy against it, blitz it or anything. They're just going to play it straight up. They feel like their athletes can make the plays.
It's a 3rd down and 1. Bolden in alongside Snead. He'll get the handoff, and he probably got back to the line of scrimmage, but that's not going to get you a first down. Brandon Spikes, the junior out of Shelby, North Carolina, making a play.
What a great read by Spikes to run through on the little draw play. Ahmad Black was coming on the blitz from the backside. Snead had to hand the ball off. Bolden gets nowhere.
Rebels will punt. Rob Park back to punt it away again. And it's a fake. Lionel Bro will pick up the first down, and the Rebels are in Gator territory. 15 yards. He only needed 2.
Dave, this is like an extension of the Wild Rebel formation right here as he laterals the Bro coming back around the other way. Joe Hayden does an excellent job on special teams to get over and knock him out of bounds. James Shebest, former Arkansas wide receiver right there.
Gutsy call by Urban Meyer on the road early in the game. Pays off. Snead lofts it up. Yeah, Houston Nutt. I mentioned Urban Meyer. You know, Urban Meyer's been 6 out of 6 on his 4th down. So Houston Nutt pulling out all the stops on the road. Take a look at our Suzuki motorcycle scoreboard. You know, one of the last things that Urban Meyer told us walking out of his office yesterday was, guys, don't forget that this Ole Miss football team is a good team. And a good pass and catch. Devin Snead hits Shea Hodge. Joe Hayden tackles him out of bounds.
Well, it all starts with protection up front. You got to give Devin Snead some time. Little play action fake, see nobody around Snead's feet. And now an excellent route by Shea Hodge to get working against Joe Hayden as Hayden throws him out of the bounds. But a good job, good timing, receiver and quarterback. And we talked to Dan Mullen, who's the offensive coordinator of Florida, who recruited Devin Snead when he was still at Utah in the transition coming down to Florida. He loves the kid. He thinks he's a great player.
And a Wild Rebel formation to the near side. In the cluster, not much happening, but a flag down in front of that Ole Miss bench back at the 35-yard line. Hubert Owens, our referee today, talking to Jay Vines there.
There is no foul on the play for illegal formation.
Time for our Nothing Like It, presented by Crystal. And a few weeks back against Miami, the Gators set a school record for attendance, 90,833. They are posting their 118th consecutive sellout, going back to 1989 today. 4:30 to go in the opening quarter. The Rebels driving. Middle passes, caught at the 10. Down to the 2-yard line goes Shea Hodge. And it's 1st and goal, Ole Miss. A 33-yard pass and catch.
Well, this is a kid that if you don't have enough pressure on him, he's going to cut you apart. An accomplished passer, little token action fake. He's going down the middle of the field to Shea Hodge, who splits the safeties for a big gainer down inside the 5.
How do you have such a big gap?
Play action fake holds the linebackers, and now all of a sudden the safeties are responsible for 2 guys on the outside. Shea Hodge splits the middle.
From the 2, handoff off the right side. Enrique Davis denied. 2nd and goal. Take a look at the red zone, powered by Honda generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. Look at the Ole Miss offense. Last week, 3 possessions in the red zone. They could only come away with 1 field goal in a loss to Vanderbilt. It's Snead on the keeper. Touchdown, Ole Miss.
Well, Dave, it's what you call a naked bootleg. And the reason you call it naked is because you're out there all by yourself and they're undressing you and you're just exposed to everyone. He's got no blocking help here. Good play fake, try to freeze the outside defender and then skate to the outside on your own. He was able to freeze Brandon, hits the linebacker just enough and get to the corner of the end zone.
Joshua Sheen to attempt the point after. It is up and good. Houston Nutt decides to go for it on 4th down at his own territory. The result, a touchdown. Back after a word for your local stations. Today's game is brought to you by Alltel, the official wireless partner of fans. Ole Miss 7, Florida nothing. Take a look at our Texas Pete scoring drive. Of course, 2 big plays, a 33-yard pass and catch that got him down inside the 5, but also Houston Nutt decides to go for it on 4th down and 2 on a fake punt. Keeps the drive alive, and that's the first touchdown allowed by this Gator defense this season. They had yielded just a field goal to this point. Justin Sparks to kick it off. James and Moore back to return it, and that will sail out of bounds. And we'll see what will happen. Will Urban Meyer take it at the 40? I believe he will take it at the 40. That's such a, or maybe, you know, with his return guys, why not give him a crack at it?
This might be the only place that might re-kick it, but I think Urban will take it at the 40-yard line, no question.
And that's exactly what Florida will do.
Out of bounds. Kicking team. Florida's chosen to take the ball at the 40-yard line. 1st down.
Well, fans, get your cell phones ready. Time for our weekly interactive feature called the Alltel Text of War. We want your answer to this question. Which quarterback will have more passing yards today? Text your answer to S1 or S2 to 55333. We'll update the results a little later in the show. 1st and 10, Gators. Tebow to throw again. Pass intended for Cooper near midfield. Incomplete coverage by the linebacker Ashley Palmer. Already some guys getting knocked around. Let's go down and check in with Dave Baker.
Yeah, key guys on the offensive side, Dave. Jim Tart, the left guard, is out. Urban Meyer told us yesterday he's been battling bad shoulder. The reason he likes him being in there is the consistency, and there's less blown assignments. Now the Gators trail for the first time this year, and John Jerry, the big offensive guard for Ole Miss, has gone to the locker room. He had his shoulder pads off, and they're taking a look at him. But as you see, it's going to be interesting to see how the Gators respond, trailing for the first time this year, and Arch, the guy who's best at the upfront assignments, in the locker room.
And in place of Tart comes Marcus Gilbert, who started 2 games earlier in the year. That was Ashley Palmer trying to change.
Number on the defense, number 11, 5 yards from the previous spot.
Ashley Palmer a little bit upset with that. Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by IKBI Incorporated, Igby, building vision, building relationships.
Had a blitz there, Dave, and Palmer was trying to time it up. Good job of Tebow switching up the snap count.
Go from 2nd and 10 to 2nd and 5 now. Tebow will keep it. 1st down, Florida, out to the Ole Miss 46-yard line. Tad Laurent brings him down.
Good job, Tim Tebow. He's going to read this. He's going to read the end spot. Look at the eyes. Read the end. The end crashes. He pulls it. Takes it around the edge. Gets a block from Harvin. Picks up the 1st down.
Tim Tebow, look at that number on the right, the far right. 0 TDs. Remember, this is a guy that accumulated 55 total touchdowns a year ago. He will carry it on 1st down and get a couple of yards. Jerry and Laurent, 2 defensive tackles, stop what could be considered another defensive tackle in Tim Tebow.
There was talk that he was going to play linebacker here in Florida, but
yeah. That all goes back to the Jevon Sneed storyline, which we'll get to here in a moment. So on second down and 8 yards. Another option to the far side. Emmanuel Moody inside the 40, driving near that first down line. He'll be about a yard shy. Moody kind of busted out on the scene last week. Had 11 carries, 57 yards.
Yeah, I want you to watch Aaron Hernandez, the tight end, number 81, out in front. There's Aaron Hernandez right there. He's going to get the block. And then Moody gets right in behind with a big run. Boy, good job, Aaron Hernandez on the
textbook. Emmanuel Moody, of course, the transfer from Southern Cal. So much expected of him in terms of the running game, but so much expected of this Florida offense in general, but they just haven't been on the field to produce the kind of statistics that many of these fans have become accustomed to, but yet they lead the league in scoring and lead the league in scoring defense. Time out on the field. We'll step aside as well. Back in a moment. (7-0) Ole Miss leading Florida. 1 minute and 12 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Florida looking at a third down. They are the best team in the SEC in third down conversions. A couple of tight ends. And a big hit at the line of scrimmage, but Moody drives his way for the first down.
Well, you talk about leg drive, Dave. Moody gets hit by Adam Walker, the linebacker, in the backfield. And he spins out. This is the second time Walker's been taken for a ride. Harvin got him earlier. And here Moody runs right through the block. Good job of Watkins, the tackle, coming down to kind of clean Walker off of Moody so Moody could slide and get the first down.
There's Tyrone Nix, the defensive coordinator. Last 3 games, his team has had 31 tackles for loss. And how about the 11 last week? This defense is playing at a very high level. 5 receivers, a nickel package. Tebow trying to burn him. Just off the fingertips of Percy Harvin. Oh, he was there.
Ole Miss comes with a 5-man rush, and you like to see Tebow maybe put a little bit more air under this ball. Threw it on a line a little bit. Very difficult to be accurate when you throw it on a line to Harvin. Harvin did a nice job of beating Jeremy McGee from the slot spot.
Boy, Harvin was wide open.
Boy, Tebow did everything he needed to do there, Dave. He held the safety in the middle, did a great job of looking it off, and then just didn't put it on his receiver.
Now it's 2nd and 10. 5 receivers. Pressure comes. Tebow dumps it over the middle. It's Harvin down to the 25-yard line, making the 24, and that'll move the change. Cassius Vaughn trips him up.
Well, Percy comes in having been limited as a weapon so far this year, and a good job of throwing it under pressure. Harvin going to win to the inside versus man coverage, and he's so strong at the size he is to get upfield. Only 180 pounds, but still runs through the tackle of Cassius Vaughn to get the first down.
Well, Harvin had a career high 11 catches, 127 yards against Ole Miss a year ago. Rainey gets the handoff, breaks 1 tackle inside the 20, inside the 15. That's another Gator first down at the 13-yard line, and that will more than likely be the last play of this opening quarter. But Florida is knocking on the door after giving up an early touchdown to the Rebels. So the 4th-ranked team in the country in a battle here at home at the Swamp. Ole Miss leading 7-0. It's our Raycom Sports SEC Game of the Week. SEC football is brought to you in part by Chevrolet. One of the all-time greats here at Florida and one of the all-time greats in this league, Eric Rett, being honored 4,163 yards on the ground. The school's all-time leading rusher in that department. A lot of people think Gibbons Smith.
Yeah.
Holds that honor. And it does hold the touchdown honor, which is ultimately what you want to do, get it in the end zone.
Yeah, but he is second to that gentleman right there in rushing yards.
Here's Tebow. He is stopped for a loss of a yard. Greg Hardy getting in. Greg Hardy bothered by a stress fracture in his foot. Had a screw placed in that foot, but he is slowly but surely getting back on the field. Here's a look at the red zone, powered by Honda generators for the ultimate tailgating experience.
In talking with Urban Meyer yesterday, Dave, what was it he said? He said, tell us a little bit about this Ole Miss defense, and he goes, 86 is back on the field for him. He's really good.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty simple. Yeah. 86 can play for Ole Miss. Here's Tebow. He can also play, but this time he's swallowed up again by this Ole Miss defense. Alan Walker, the first one there, and then Jerry McGee chimes in.
Ole Miss has done a nice job with their defensive front. They're really doing a good job, and it's allowing the linebackers to run up and make the plays. Defensive line eating people up, and Adam Walker comes up to make the stop.
Tyrone Nix on the right. Defensive coordinator came over from South Carolina to join Houston Nutt and his staff. 3rd down and 12. Keyston Moore in at tailback.
This is Aaron Hernandez right here. He's a guy they love down here in the red zone.
And I think Florida's going to have to call another timeout. They could not get lined up. Keyston Moore came out to the near side, and I think that was not where he was supposed to be. We'll take the timeout as well. 7-0 Ole Miss. A 3rd down and 12. Second quarter action, and they trail by a touchdown. Tebow out of the shotgun. Pressure comes over the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Lewis Murphy. It was a little low. Cassius Vaughn was with the coverage, and now the Gators looking at 4th down and 12.
It's a great read by Tebow. He's got Murphy working down through the middle. You see the pressure in his face, and that short arms the throw. The hit just as he let the ball go, and Murphy couldn't squeeze it. Ball just a little bit low. Murphy could not get his hands underneath the football, hit the ground. Little late pressure there by Ole Miss affected the throw by Tim Tebow.
32-yard attempt. Jonathan Phillips 4 out of 4 this year. He's now 5 out of 5. So the Gators are on the board. Urban Meyer, though, doesn't want to kick field goals in the red zone. 7-3, back in a moment after a word from your local stations. Closed captioning is provided by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. Let's take a look at our Texas Pete scoring drive, and results in a field goal, but Florida has already run 21 plays. This is an offense that was trying to get on the field more. They just have been limited. So you got to be happy in that regard, but that man is not happy with field goals.
No, he made an emphasis of saying we cannot kick field goals if we break the red zone. And they were limited on that one to a field goal. Good job by Ole Miss to step up on that 3rd down play.
It was funny. He said, listen, guys, I'm not here to kick field goals. I like our kicking game, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to put it in the end zone. You know, the 3 field goals last week, certainly, you know, you take all the points you can get, but he was hoping that those were touchdowns. Caleb Sturgis down to the 5-yard line, and Mike Wallace. Wallace out to the 25-yard line, and that is where Ole Miss will get the football. So Jevin Sneed comes on the field after his little 2-yard touchdown run. Gave Ole Miss this lead.
Well, Jevin's been impressive to start off with. Quick timing throw there to Shea Hodge, and then right down the pipe that set up the touchdown right here on the bootleg. Dave, you mentioned he was going to have to play big today, and so far he has for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Young man was recruited by Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer when they were at Utah. Thought he was going to be the next Alex Smith. Well, then the coaching staff comes here to Florida, and then he was going to come to Florida, but then a guy named Tim Tebow was being recruited. That caused a change of plans for Jevin Sneed. Brandon Bolden on that carry. When we asked Devin Snead about it on the call, he says, yeah, I was going to go down there and I thought I was going to be their guy. And Urban Meyer says he came down here, got off the airplane, and he started getting inundated with, hey, are you going to get Tebow? Are you going to recruit Tebow? And we know the rest of that story.
Yeah, and I think there was somewhere in that conversation, we think we're going to play this Tebow kid at linebacker. Well, 98 touchdowns in high school says you play quarterback.
Yeah, a rumor got started. You can see our Academy Sports down and distance marker. Snead lofts it up. That's picked off. Major Wright will set the Gator offense up at the 44-yard line. Pressure came from Brandon Spikes.
Brandon Spikes is going to come on the blitz from the linebacker spot. Number 51 right there. He's going to get into Jevin Snead's back, and it changes the throw. Becomes a wounded duck, and Major Wright, the free safety in the middle of the field, just playing center field, is going to pick it off. That's his second on the year.
That's a dream for this secondary. A ball floating in the air in the open field. So now Florida has some momentum. They set up shop at the 44. Throw all day, lofts it up, and that's nearly picked off, but it's caught by Harvin. That will be a Gator touchdown.
Great protection for Tebow, and a great break on the ball by Kendrick Lewis, the safety. He just doesn't catch the football. He breaks on it, doesn't catch it, and Harvin catches the carom and takes it in the end zone. It's an excellent break by the safety to try to take it away, but he just did not finish the play, and Harvin does.
Phillips with the point after. They say baseball's a game of inches. Football was a game of inches on that play. It could have been a touchdown the other way. Instead, the Gators have the lead 10-7. Back in a moment. Florida leading Ole Miss 10-7 here at the Swamp. 12:26 to go in the first half. Look at the Gators in terms of their turnover story this year. It is truly amazing. They have yet to turn one over, and Tim Tebow has stretched his streak out to 154 passes without an interception, but that one very easily could have been picked off.
Yeah, by the narrowest of margins, Percy Harvin comes up with that one, but think back to 07, only 6 interceptions in 07, Dave. He's done a great job of taking care of the football when he throws it.
So Sturgis will kick off again. Mike Wallace, this time from the 10. Mike Wallace, look at the speedster. Wallace across midfield and tackled down at the Gator 43-yard line. 48-yard return. Let's go back to that touchdown a moment ago.
Here's Percy Harvin, Dave, right here. He's going to run a deep over route. This is Kendrick Lewis, the safety. Watch him read the quarterback's eyes. He's going to read Harvin, and now he's going to break on the football. And he's there to make the play. He just does not squeeze it, and Harvin comes up with a carom.
Boy, Tebow had all day to throw it. Second touchdown reception of the season for Percy Harvin, his third touchdown overall this year. So 1st and 10 for the Rebels. Snead going up top. Looking for Shea Hodge, incomplete. Take a look at our Suzuki Motorcycle scoreboard. Virginia leading Duke 3-0. Here it's 10-7. It's been an entertaining first half to this point in front of 90,000 on hand. Out of the I formation, Snead will throw, or attempt to throw, as he is sacked. Back at the 43-yard line, Brandon Spikes now has 3.5 sacks on the season.
Well, Florida learned their lesson in the first drive that ended up in a Ole Miss touchdown. Here they bring pressure, and this time that's Joe Hayden, the corner, coming off the slot area. He's their nickelback. Great blitzer. Talked to Charlie Strong yesterday. He said, we will come with at least 4 every time, and probably 5, and Joe Hayden's that extra guy off the slot.
Third down and 17. And the 3-man rush led by who else? Brandon Spikes drags Jevin Sneed to the ground. Boy, when you can get a 3-man rush and get to the quarterback, that'll make your D coordinator happy.
Now this one's on the quarterback a little bit, Dave. Got a little bit unsettled back there. He had a great throw to the outside. There's Michael Orr, the big offensive tackle, All-American, working against Jermaine Cunningham, and did a good job of containing the best pass rusher, but they didn't get them all.
On 4th and 20, Percy Harvin and Brandon James back to return this punt.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, number 36 on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. Still 4th down.
Geico is canvassing the country this year to get the fans' input on all the best moments of the 2008 football season. For tour updates, tour schedules, and your chance to take the Geico Best of 2008 fan poll, check out bestofcollegesports.com. So the double weapons of James and Percy Harvin won't have the opportunity to return it, but I don't think the Gators will mind. A poor punt off the foot of Rob Park, and the Gators will line up at the 43-yard line. Just a 22-yard kick.
Urban Meyer was hot after that play. You get a call from your returner to get away from the football. Get away from the football. It hit the nose and bounced back towards Ole Miss, and David Nelson, one of the receivers who's on the punt team, was around the football. Urban just fired his headset to the sideline, and boy, he got in Nelson's ear. That's not what we do here on punt return.
5 receivers set. Pressure comes, and Tebow is dropped back at the 30-yard line. Alan Walker came flying in.
Brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Alan Walker, the linebacker, number 9, is going to blitz right through the gap. Good job of timing the blitz up. It was a zone fire, if you will. They play zone in behind. They don't like to call them blitzes. They like to call them fires. The linebackers come. That time they played zone behind, and Tebow did not have an outlet.
That's the 4th sack allowed by the Gator offense this season. And here comes pressure again. This time they set up a little screen to Harvin. Look at him dance around, but finally a loose football. Who's got it? I think Ole Miss just picked up the football. Greg Hardy making another play for the Rebels.
Boy, he did, Dave. Hardy came back against the screen after rushing the passer and hammered Harvin, and the ball popped out.
Well, look at our officiating crew down there on the. They're going to say Florida has it. Boy, Ole Miss thought they had it initially, but I think that little scrum, it becomes a weightlifting, a strength contest underneath that pile. But here's another look.
There's 86. Harvey comes in and lowers the boom on Harvin. And Harvin, we talked about his strength. He's really the only Gator in the pile.
Oh, what a big hit by Hardy.
It's Harvin wrestling against Parade Jerry for the football. That's your slot receiver running back working against the nose guard to try to get that ball back.
But a big loss for Florida. 3rd down and 19. They had a chance to pick up some substantial yards on that play. Here comes some more pressure. Tebow dancing around, shovel pass. It's caught by Keyston Moore. He'll be shy of the 1st down, but a heck of an effort by your quarterback. Wow. Ole Miss is flying. Offense. that defensive line today.
Looked like Ole Miss brought some players from the secondary. Jeremy McGee, the corner, got in there, but you're right, Dave. Tebow has not been able to set his feet and get comfortable in the pocket. And an outstanding athletic play just to get it to Keaston Moore on the play.
Well, I've been impressed with this Ole Miss defense today. And Urban Meyer, once again, walking out of his office, reiterated to us, he goes, guys, this is a good football team we got in here tomorrow. And he has not lied to this point. That punt will sail into the end zone off the foot of Chaz Henry, so Ole Miss will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Be sure and join us next Saturday at 12:30 Eastern as these Gators head over to the Ozarks to take on Arkansas. The Gator defense, of course, has stepped up and made some of the big plays this year. The Hogs are looking to pull off the upset behind their quarterback, Casey Dick, who leads the league in passing. Don't forget, you can log on to raycomsports.com and click on the Regions Bank Road Trip Planner for the quickest routes and all the info you need traveling around the SEC. Speaking of defense, let's go down and check in with Dave Baker.
Hey, Dave, everybody's talking about what's going on with the offenses in the league. I think it might have something to do with the fact that the defenses are so good. Big guys coming off the edge, causing trouble on both sides of the football here early in this game. And I mean, it's not only great schemes, you know, when you got guys dialing it up like Charlie Strong and Tyrone Nix, but I mean big, physical, fast players that are really able to cause some problems.
Really, the definition of what SEC football is, Buzz, is that athletic big fella running. And Coach Charlie Strong has a bunch of them here.
Boy, the last 4 years, Florida giving up just about 88 yards a game on the ground, 4th best in the country. That handoff off the right side to Eason, not much happening there. When you look at the scoring defense of the SEC teams, 7 clubs: Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, LSU, South Carolina, and Georgia. Those are the top 7 in the SEC, ranking the top 18 in the country. I mean, I'd like to give up. You're Auburn, you're giving up 10.2 points a game. That's only going to get you 4th in this league.
Well, when you mention SEC football, now we're going to have a substitution problem for Ole Miss. Flag comes down. Too many people in the huddle.
Prior to the snap, substitution infraction. 12 men in the huddle. Number 25 on the offense. That penalty was 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still 3rd down.
Well, those are the kind of things that'll put a hurting on you. When offense backed up, you're looking at a 3rd down and about 4, and now you're manageable, but now you're 3rd and 9. They are 0 for 3 today on 3rd down conversions are the Rebels. They came in right in the middle of the pack in the SEC, about 43% success rate on 3rd downs. .6:45 to play before halftime. Snead hit as he throws. It's incomplete, and the Rebels will have to punt.
What a strange play there, Dave. They tried to sprint Snead to the right with his 2 slot receivers that way, and they were not able to secure the edge. Florida does a great job of hemming him inside and getting thrown away.
So Harvin and James back to return this punt. It's a good kick from Rob Park. And James is wrapped up back at the 20. Actually, they'll spot it out the 28-yard line. Good coverage by Ole Miss. Time to update our All-Tel Text of War poll. We're asking you which quarterback will have more passing yards today, and you see the results as of right now. You can add your voice to the vote. Text your answer to S1 or S2 to 55333. As always, thanks for participating in our All-Tel's Text of War.
Tebow's got about a 34-yard lead, right? 34-yard lead.
An Iowa State degree paying off big for you right there.
Boy, that math class is love that.
So 1st down and 10 for the Gators. Come near side with it. Here's Percy Harvin. He picked up about 4.5, maybe 5. Chris Bowers, the senior out of Shreveport, Louisiana, chases him down.
I'm sorry, Dave. In talking to Urban Meyer yesterday, he said he wanted to get Harvin the football a little bit more. Percy, you mentioned the heel. He was a little banged up, did not play opening day, limited a little bit against Miami, didn't play as much. Urban wanted to get Harvin the football. They know what a great game breaker he is, and just didn't handle it very much.
Down to 2, but they'll get the snap off, and Harvin has it. Dancing around, and he is swallowed up. Got maybe a yard. That'll bring up 3rd down. Jamarcus Sanford makes his first tackle of the afternoon. Percy Harvin certainly a factor in this offense today.
David, in his career, Harvin has done a great job of making big plays. That one a little bit of a gift on the carom, but Harvin as a rusher, 135 carries in his career, 9.3 yards every time he touches it.
Is that the best he can do? Here's Tebow, a little inside shovel pass to the tight end, Aaron Hernandez, but a flag down. And a loose football, still loose, no whistles. That could be Ole Miss football. That is more than likely going to be the Rebels football. That was a strange sequence because the Florida Gators just stopped.
Right. Well, it's a great wrinkle by Dan Mullen on the offense. A little shovel pass to the inside when you thought it was going to be optioned to Rainey. But then Hernandez didn't take care of the football. It was ripped out by Ole Miss.
So it looks like they may be coming over to review, or they're going to talk to one of our officials on the near sideline.
I'm wondering if the call is maybe an illegal forward pass on Tebow, if he's too far down the field before shoveling it forward to Aaron Hernandez. But there's no question it's a fumble, and a good job by Ole Miss to keep playing to the whistle.
Ineligible receiver, downfield, number 81 on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. We'll replay 3rd down.
Well, what about the fumble? We got to talk about the fumble, don't we? Well, Houston Nutt is certainly stating his case, and it should be the Rebel football.
Well, the reason Aaron Hernandez is called an ineligible receiver is because he's lined up at tight end, and there must have been a receiver on the line of scrimmage outside of him that made him ineligible. Still doesn't refute the fact of the fumble.
There was a fumble on the play, recovered by Ole Miss. The ineligible receiver downfield penalty is declined. Ole Miss football, 1st and 10.
Well, Ted Laurent will now get credit for a fumble recovery. Cassius Vaughn forced the fumble. And that was weird because Florida, there were no blue jerseys chasing after that football.
I thought it was an excellent job, though. You're exactly right. It looked like Florida kind of quit. Cassius Vaughn did a great job of coming up and stripping the ball after the corner spot. But credit the group here, the officials, for getting it sorted out and getting it right. Good job by those guys.
Well, a well-constructed play goes for naught, and Ole Miss has it now 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line with 4:45 to go here in the 2nd quarter. They'll hand it off the right side, pick up about 4.5, maybe 5. That's Cordero Eason, the junior out of Meridian, Mississippi. Brandon Spikes and Jermaine Cunningham bring him down. Jermaine's been bothered by a little bit of a bad leg this week, but you look at Eason's numbers, averaging just shy of 5 yards a carry. Boy, that's a big hole to fill when you lose a guy like Jarvis Green Ellis, who just was a load for 2 years.
And a guy that lined up for you every week, Dave. He was there. Jarvis Green Ellis was there every week for you. Bruce Hall was his backup. So Eason now finally getting a chance to be the featured guy.
2nd down and a short 6. They'll swing it out to the fullback Cook, who dives forward out to the 43-yard line. That'll make it about 3rd and 2. Janoris Jenkins, that true freshman from Pahokee, Florida, in on the tackle. Go to Yahoo Sports to see over 50 Raycom Sports SEC football and basketball games, and for only $4.95 a month, you can hear thousands of audio broadcasts. Be sure and follow your team all season long at Yahoo Sports. So Ole Miss will bust out the wild rebel formation. Enrique Davis checks in on a 3rd down and 2. That inside handoff goes to Davis. He'll be shy. And that'll bring up a 4th down and about a yard. You punt it away right here?
Well, let's see. Let's let them unpile and see how much they got left.
Right.
See that wild rebel. You see Florida do a check, and they go to an 8-man front as soon as they see the wild rebel formation. That was that standard check we talked about with Charlie Strong.
Houston Nutt has already gone for it with a fake punt that picked up a 1st down and led to the Ole Miss touchdown. And it looks as though he's going to go for it here. Although they may have to burn a timeout. There's only 7 seconds, 6 seconds on the play clock. And they better burn the timeout. I think he is waiting, and he will get the timeout. So a big 4th down decision on the way for Houston Nutt and the Rebels. We will return after this from the SEC. 10-7, Florida out in front. 2:38 to go in the opening half. Houston Nutt talking to his offense. It is 4th down and 1.
I think, Dave, if it's me, I punt the football here. I punt it. My defense is playing really well against Florida. I punt the football because if you turn it over right here, then you're giving Florida the short field and a chance to go up by 10.
So Ron Park will kick it away. A single safety now for Florida, and that is Brandon James. Will field it at the 11. Splits some defenders. And great coverage by the Ole Miss punt team. Just like every other week, Rascal Flatts opened up our telecast today with their song Bob That Head from the album Still Feel Was Good. The guys were recently nominated as Vocal Group of the Year at the CMA Awards, airing on ABC on November 11th. They're on a bit of a winning streak with 5 straight wins in that category. You can check out what else is going on with the guys at www.rascalflats.com. Of course, they just recently played near Joe Don's hometown. They did a concert in Tulsa this past week. Those guys have made enough money yet?
Not in their money.
Emmanuel Moody got to the 25.
Moody gets up hobbling a little bit. Big hit right at the end of that play.
He twisted an ankle on the opener against Hawaii. Wasn't anything serious, but got a little dinged up in that game. So the clock moves to 2 minutes now as Chris Rainey checks in. But an empty set for Tim Tebow. Pressure comes again. Tebow hit. That'll be a late hit. Tebow got hit right across the chops. I believe that was Patrick Trahan that came in late.
Exactly right, Dave. Trahan blitzes from the linebacker spot off the slot and hit Tebow late.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 7 on the defense. That penalty was 15 yards added to the end of the run. 1st down.
Boy, that could have been a double penalty, not only a late hit, but helmet to helmet. That was just not a smart move by Patrick Trahan. And now the Gators will move the ball out to the 48-yard line with $1:48 to go. They've got ample opportunity here for 5 or 6 or 7 plays even. Tebow throws again. Harvin wide open on the far side. Knocked out of bounds at the 30 by Jamarcus Sanford.
Florida does such a great job with the combination of their routes. Harvin's lined up right here in the slot. He's going to run to the outside. Coming back to the inside is Riley Cooper. He pulls both defenders to the inside. Harvin sits on the sideline. Good read by Tebow to stick it out there. Nice job, Dan Mullen, designing that little combination, those two guys on that weak side.
Tebow started the day 4 out of 9. He is now 5 out of his last 5 throwing the football. And Ole Miss and Parade Jerry jumping off sides.
Offsides. Number 98 on the defense. 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still first down.
Speaking of Tim Tebow and quarterbacks, our Chick-fil-A nugget of the game. How about this? Ken Austin, the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, had a great career in the CFL, but one of only three guys to throw for over 6,000 yards. And how about my man Dave Archer down there in Sacramento? And another offsides this time. Looked like Phil Troutwine jumps.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 75 on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still first down.
Phil Troutwine missed all of last year. You see Moody head to the sideline. Looks like he's aggravated that ankle again, Dave. But Troutwine, another guy back in the lineup, missed all of last year. The stress fracture of the foot. Back in, anchoring that left side.
Tebow, quick throw over the middle. It's Harvin to the 20. Harvin breaks a couple of tackles. Percy Harvin down to the 1-yard line. Jamarcus Sanford hit on the tackle, but how about Harvin slipping through a bunch of white jerseys?
When you talk about his elusive, what a great athlete he is, and what you forget about is how strong he is. And we've mentioned it a couple times. This takes strength to split this tackle right here. He runs through two rebels right there and muscles himself down to the 1-yard line. Nice job by Harvin to show the strength along with the speed.
Junior out of Virginia beats Virginia. So first and goal for the Gators. Tebow will keep it to the right side. Touchdown. His first rushing touchdown of 2008. It comes in game number 4.
And the rest of the SEC is hoping that they just didn't open the floodgates. It's a young man that ran for 23 last year. He just pounds it in. A lot of big people on that side. And Tebow stuffs it in the end zone. Something we saw him do a ton last year.
Well, he amassed between rushing touchdowns and passing touchdowns 55 total TDs a year ago. Going after up and good by Jonathan Phillips. So 4 games into this 2008 season, and finally Tim Tebow has crossed the goal line. Florida leads at 17-7 with 66 seconds to play before halftime. Well, this football season, it's all about you. 10 friends and a private jet. Enter the Alltel My Circle Gridiron Getaway for your chance to take 10 friends on a private jet to any regular season game. The ultimate VIP experience. For your chance to win, text GAME to 57533 or visit alltelfootball.com. Let's go down and check in with Dave Baker, who has a special guest.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. You know, the Alltel My Circle Gridiron Getaway got underway on August 30th. Chad, tell us about Erin's great getaway today.
Oh, it's awesome. She got to choose of any game, any college or professional game. She chose this one today, here against Ole Miss.
Erin Burlington is a teacher from up in North Carolina, and you're adorned in a Tim Tebow jersey. Why the Gators?
They have been my favorite team since I was a little girl. I used to live in Tampa, and I've loved them my whole life. And when I had the opportunity to pick any game from Alltel, I said Gators all the way.
How about that? Now, Chad, she got to bring 10 of her friends in a private jet, and there's still more chances for people to win. Tell us about it.
Yeah, there's 4 more. All you have to do is check out alltelfootball.com. You can enter there, or you can text JET to 57533. That's all you got to do, and you can enter, and there's 4 more. Any game, any pro, any college game.
The way the Gators are playing, I'm sure you'll be texting even more, Erin.
Oh, yes. It is so awesome. Great game. Loving it.
Well, congratulations to the both of you, Chad. Thanks for being here, and thanks to Alltel.
Thank you.
All right. Back up to you, David.
How about a late flag on the Mike Wallace return out near midfield?
On the kickoff return, penalty flag on the return.
Boy, Ole Miss needed a little spark here. There's plenty of time as you look at our Texas Pete for a moment. Texas Pete scoring drive. We'll get that back up for you in a minute, but there's the late hit.
That's just not a very smart play there by John Jones, the linebacker.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds on the kicking team. 15 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
Dave, that's the second return. Mike Wallace has come with a big, second time he's come with a big return here for Ole Miss to get him out near midfield, and now the penalty to get him deep into Gator territory.
81 yards on that scoring drive. 1 minute and 20 seconds off the clock. But now Ole Miss certainly with plenty of time and great field position to at least maybe attempt a field goal here before halftime. Brandon Bolden, the true freshman, in alongside Jevin Sneed in that Ole Miss backfield. Sneed throws behind his intended target, Lionel Breaux.
That's just a play. It's not coordinated very well. Breaux hooks up outside as an outlet for Sneed. When Sneed looked up the field to McCluster, Breaux turned and went up the sideline. Sneed was beckoning him to stand on the sideline as an outlet, and he wasn't there.
52 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Second down and 10. Dime package for the Gators with 6 defensive backs on the field. And flags. Looks like Gerald Harris, the tight end, might have taken off a little bit too early. It's been a busy few minutes for our referee, Hubert Owens.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 74 on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still second down.
But I don't know if you noticed, but Michael Orr, the big tackle, shifted from the left side out into the slot. They were going to run a little screen and get Orr out in front. Boy, I loved his wide receiver stance too at 6'5", 340 pounds.
38 career starts for the big left tackle out of Memphis, Tennessee. But now it's 2nd and 15. A little inside handoff goes to Bolden. Bolden with plenty of room. Bolden slips a tackle inside the 20, knocked out of bounds at the 15. A huge run for the true freshman out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, as he picks up 30 yards.
So delay handoff, little draw play to Bolden. Good job of getting the block on the linebacker. And then Gerald Hicks got that block on Dustin Doe, and then a nice job of Bolden running through 2 Gators to get to the sideline and conserve the timeouts.
42 seconds to go. And a quick play, a little fumble-rooski perhaps from Ole Miss. Not much happening. They got it inside the 15. Houston Nutt will burn a timeout. Dexter McCluster comes up with the football in that little bunched formation.
They wanted to make it look like reverse. It was a tight formation. McCluster was up tight as you look at the Honda Generators red zone.
For the ultimate tailgating experience. See what Ole Miss has done this season. 9 TDs and 16 possessions inside that red zone. That is, in terms of a touchdown percentage, that is 8th in the league at 53%. 36 seconds to go. Houston Nutt uses a timeout. They're looking at a 2nd down and 7. The ball sits at the 14-yard line. Do you start to think about taking a couple shots at the end zone at this point? I mean, do you want to go for the end zone here? Do you have to do that?
I don't think you have to take a shot at the end zone. I think there's enough time. Got to be very efficient with what you're doing. Obviously, Jevin Sneed got to be in control. He has a timeout left. I think you still have an opportunity to throw it underneath. I would look for one of the bubble screens or something to Dexter McCluster.
The Gators better get out there and get set. The play clock is moving. Ole Miss could snap this at any time. McCluster in motion. They'll pitch it near side. Bolden. He will throw it, and a flag comes down. Incomplete out of the back of the end zone, looking for Shea Hodge.
Brandon Bolden's pass intended for Shea Hodge. Incomplete.
That's in that area of pass interference.
You know, Enrique Davis has thrown out of that formation. He's 1 out of 1 for 37 yards. Bolden, that's his first pass.
Yeah, McCluster's 0 for 2, so you don't know who's going to throw it for Ole Miss sometimes. He was working against Janoris Jenkins, the freshman corner. Shea Hodge was.
Pass interference. Number 3 on the offense. That penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
So the interference is on Shea Hodge, the receiver, trying to free himself from Janoris Jenkins, the corner. Cluster comes in They make it look like run. Did a good job of bluffing the run. And a good job of Janoris Jenkins evidently with the jam. We didn't see it there, but he did a good job of jamming Shea Hodge up and generated the penalty.
7 Ole Miss penalties. They're 9th in the league in that department. 22 coming into this afternoon's contest. And whistles blow. Looks like the Gators might have.
False start. Number 50 on the offense. That penalty was 5 yards from the previous spot. It's still second down.
There you go. Darrell Harris getting a little too excited.
Now they're shooting themselves in the foot here. They had a great opportunity to put some points on the board, and now they've pushed themselves back to where they're right on the fringe of field goal range. So Jevin Sneed now as a quarterback, you got to start thinking about, I've got to at least secure field goal position. So he'll be thinking about that here on his throw.
Second down and 26. Wow. Sneed hit as he throws. It's incomplete. And now you're looking at 24 seconds to go.
Well, Florida just rushing 4. They get pressure on Jevin Sneed. One thing Jevin's not doing is when the pressure gets to him, he's not finding his check down. Florida's doing a good job of playing off, but they're not taking care of the underneath. There's been several times where the backs have been open in the flat for Sneed.
Play clock already down to 11, 10, 9. And they're looking at a 3rd down and 26. I mean, as you mentioned, they're right on the edge of getting out of field goal range. And now they're going to have to back them up 5 more. This has been a self-destruction offensively. Dave Baker, what do you got?
Boy, you know, Dave, this is what Houston was talking about earlier this week. His team has played so well at times, yet because of their youth, learning the new system, and because of the fact that things have happened to them like this for the past 4 years, it's a hard habit to break. Lots of times it's been turnovers, but as you mentioned, they get down in the red zone with a great opportunity, and they've done nothing but gone backwards. I'm sure what they were trying to do there was to save the timeout for a potential field goal. Now they got to get themselves back in field goal range.
That's exactly right. Jevin Sneed's got to be looking here on 3rd down to try to get 10, 12 yards to put the field goal position, field goal group in position. But they're calling the plays from the sideline, expecting Sneed to run in, and you're blowing a lot of time in that situation.
Sneed, nobody's home. Mike Wallace was the closest man around, but he was a good 15 yards away, and that's incomplete. And now you're at 4th and 31.
A lot of confusion for Ole Miss on offense, and some of it's coming from the sideline. See, there's a great rush. Cunningham got off on the start right away and was right in Sneed's face before he had a chance to really sort anything out. But a lot of confusion from Ole Miss.
And they're going to have to go for it here. They're out of field goal range. Joshua Sheen's career long is 52. Here's Sneed buying some time, throwing to the end zone, to the back of the end zone, and incomplete with 10 seconds to go. Well, that was an ugly sequence if you're an Ole Miss fan.
Yeah, no question about it. Just a self-destruct job. You get down inside the red zone, and then multiple penalties, and then some confusion as to what group you wanted on the field, running the clock down where you didn't have any chance to get the play off, and then Jevin Sneed on the Hail Mary throws it out of the back of the end zone. No chance to make a play.
Remember, they get the football off the kickoff out near the 40-yard line of Florida to start that drive with a minute and a half to go, and ultimately they moved nowhere. Throw, trying to get down at least maybe in field goal range. Incomplete with 4 seconds to go, looking for Aaron Hernandez.
Ole Miss playing way off, obviously play way off, play zone, try to rally to the throw. Tebow had a lot of time to throw. That actually had Hernandez, just didn't make a good throw.
Tebow 10 out of 16, 172 yards and a touchdown. Florida has run 34 plays in the first half. Ole Miss 30. And that'll do it. Ole Miss jumped out to a 7-0 lead here at the Swamp. But then Florida responds with 17 unanswered points to take this 10-point advantage into the locker room. 90,000 on hand at the Swamp, the 119th consecutive sellout. Let's go downstairs, check in with Dave Baker.
Urban, you told anybody to listen to this would be a battle and some big defensive plays, big stand by your guys right there.
Yeah, two good teams right here playing, and it's SEC football. So our defense gave it a little drive earlier, and but our defense playing pretty well.
You've been able to create some pressure, guys coming off the edge and mixing it up a little bit.
Well, we can't sit in the same front. We're doing some 3 down, and Coach Strong's done a nice job calling some pressures out of 3 down.
All right, thanks, Urban.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Urban Meyer goes to the locker room. He knows he's got a battle in the second half as his Gators lead it by 10.
Over the next 2 weeks, ESPN is featuring a Battle of the Bands contest. SEC football is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, by GMC, by Pizza Hut, by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Geico, by BC Headache Powder, and by Ruby Tuesday.
Certainly known, Urban Meyer is a fellow who's certainly known for his ability to draw plays, but he's a guy that is big on motivation as well, and he was rallying the troops there at the end of the first half, and he's going to need to continue to do that. Ole Miss is coming here as more than a formidable opponent as the Rebels trail the Gators 17-7 here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Dave Baker back here with you on our Raycom SEC Game of the Week, and right now there's some great action going on in the Southeastern Conference. Let's go ahead and take a look at our drive to the SEC Championship standings, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. And there you see what's going on in the East. And no, that is not a typo, my friends. That's the Vanderbilt Commodores after their big win over Ole Miss last week at 4-0. Of course, Georgia taking on Alabama in a game that is size huge tonight. And you see why in the West as Alabama and LSU continue to lead the league, and Auburn with that one loss that came at the hands of the LSU Tigers. Time now to check out what's going on with Ronald McDonald Houses around the South. They're such a great organization. They serve as a home away from home for families with seriously ill children being treated at local hospitals in 30 nations. This week's salute is the Ronald McDonald House of Macon, Georgia, which offers the comforts of home to families in 26 counties in central Georgia. For more information on how you can support the house that love built in your area, visit the Ronald McDonald Charities website. The band plays on here in Gainesville, and it is an absolutely beautiful afternoon for football. As the Florida Gators, in a tussle, 4th-ranked team in the land, leads Ole Miss by a count of 17-7. And there you see the Gator head that the Florida team rubs for good luck before they come out onto the field here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, right below their wall that commemorates 2 national championships. And right now, the 4th-ranked team in the land, they got a battle on their hands as they lead Ole Miss by a count of 17-7. Time now for the Cooper Tires Big Stop of the Week. And the Vanderbilt Commodores are ranked for the first time since 1984, and their defense played a huge role in last week's thrilling win over Ole Miss. Safety Ryan Hamilton gets things started with 3 big interceptions, but the biggest play happened with a little under 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. The Rebels threatening to take the lead, and freshman linebacker Chris Marvey ripped the ball away from running back Dexter McCluster to get the huge stop to help seal the game. Cooper Tire presents the Big Stop of the Week. All right, let's check out the other action in the SEC. How about checking out our Outback out-of-town scoreboard? And as we get going with those scores, we'll take a look at the ACC first of all, I believe. There we go. Clemson with the lead over Maryland. It is Miami on top of North Carolina in the 3rd. Rhode Island being shut out by Boston College, and Syracuse with the 11-point third-quarter lead. Indiana trailing Michigan State at the half, and Ohio State, Beanie Wells expected to be back today with the early lead. Iowa hanging on against Northwestern. Texas A&M leading Army by a touchdown. That one is also at the half. Oh, man, each and every week, Rascal Flatts gets us going. And if we had something to see today. A lot more still to go after this word from your local SEC station.
Johnny Carrabba.
And I'm Damian Mandola.
And Carrabba's Italian Grill presents our favorite SEC moment.
Hey, how about Johnny and Damian whipping up a little halftime grub for us, the way the Florida Gators in 2006 whipped up a national championship after thumping Ohio State 41-14 in the BCS title game. Quarterback Chris Leak and Tim Tebow led the way with their dual quarterback attack. Leak named the game's offensive MVP with 213 yards and a touchdown, while Tebow finished the game by throwing a TD and running for another. This win also marked the first time ever that a school won the national championship in both football and basketball in the same year. This SEC favorite moment is brought to you by Carrabba's. Good things happened around the table. And there you see Dara Torres, 41 years young. Man, look at her. She's mom today, but she's the most decorated female in the history of United States swimming. 12 medals as part of the Florida athletes who competed for a number of different countries who are being honored here today. You got a brief shot at the gold medalist there, Ryan Lichty, who also captured gold in Beijing. Florida leads Ole Miss by a count of 17-7, and as we take it back upstairs to Dave Neal and Dave Archer, guys, the way that one of these teams is going to capture gold, at least in this game, is trying to figure out how to stop the rush of the opposing defense.
First off, Buzz, I got to say that your segue to us, fabulous. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, when you think about these two teams, we both eyed their defense coming into this. A lot of people talk offense, but these defenses have been getting after it pretty good.
Yeah, they really have. The score is 17-7, but really an Ole Miss dropped interception or tipped interception, or it's 10-7 right now, and it's been a good job of trying to manage the field. Poor job by Ole Miss right before the half, but a good job by both teams of taking care of their defense.
Well, this thing got started for Ole Miss. They kept the drive alive with this fake punt that led to a touchdown.
Did a great job of formationing into the play, and then Snead ends the drive with a little bootleg to get him in the end zone and put him up 7-0 at the time. But here's the tip pass. This is the big play of the game in my mind, Dave. But Kendrick Lewis had a chance to intercept the pass. Harvin scores, and then Tebow gets a late touchdown in the second quarter.
You look at our Infinity halftime stats, and it's really been the Percy Harvin story. He has 10 touches, and he has racked up over 135 yards of those total 225 yards by Florida. Well, in the SEC, every yard can make a difference this season. That's doubly true all season long. Regions Bank has been celebrating Life Green checking and savings with SEC yards for trees. Regions will plant a tree for each yard gained by both teams in the SEC Game of the Week. Through the first 4 games of the season, Regions has committed to plant 2,966 trees throughout the Southeast. To learn more, visit regions.com/green. The leaders so far, the 823 combined yards Tennessee and UAB posted just a couple of weeks ago. Well, Tim Tebow with a pretty good first half. 10 out of 16, 172 yards and a touchdown. Second half football around the corner.
SEC football is being brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, by Carrabba's Italian Grill, by Cooper Tires, by Polaris ATV, by McDonald's, and by the new AT&T.
Just keep that thing away from me. SEC football is presented in high definition where available by Raycom Sports. Hope you're enjoying the game wherever you may be around this great country. Let's check in with Dave Baker.
Houston, you've talked about it all season long. You had the one turnover, and then you had the bad series right there before the half in the red zone.
Again, you know, we're good at helping people.
Yeah.
And we got to get a lot better. It's ingrained in us.
us right now. We got to stop it, but we put together some good drives, had a couple good stops, but hey, we're still in the ball game.
You getting some good pressure on defense.
Well, I'm getting some great pressure. Our front line's playing good. Just got to contain Harvin a little bit better.
All right, thanks a bunch, Houston. That's Houston, not Dave.
Thank you, Dave Baker. Look at their first half possessions. That TD came on a 70-yard drive, but since then it's been 3 punts and losing the possession on downs. Tim Tebow, his Gator offense. See, they kind of got it cranked up a little bit, mainly because Percy Harvin has been a big factor.
Yeah, he's got his partner in crime back there with him in Harvin, and he touched the ball 10 times in the first half. But really, this offense goes through Tim Tebow, and they got him back running the football. Here he pounds it in the end zone for his first touchdown on the year, rushing the football. But Tim Tebow really makes this offense go. Yes, Harvin is a dynamic part of it, but Tim Tebow is the guy.
Tim Tebow leads the team in carries with 7 in the first half, but a net 2 yards. Gonna throw those sacks in there. Ole Miss did a fantastic job of getting to him. I mean, there were a couple of times he had ample opportunities to throw the football, but for the most part, he's been under the gun. Justin Sparks will kick it off. That will sail into the end zone and out of the end zone. A perfect kick for Justin Sparks, so the Gators will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Of course, Tim Tebow coming off that Heisman Trophy season of a year ago, and we'll compare these first 3 games from last year to this year, and certainly it's hard to make a comparison because he hasn't had the football very much. This club averaging about 47 plays per game, so those numbers are a little bit skewed heading into this game, but today he's kind of got it cranked up with 172 yards through the air.
And let's not forget they played a good young Miami team in week 2 that skewed those numbers a little bit too. Very difficult schedule as far as Miami being early in the season for Florida.
Here's Harvin, first touch of the second half, picks up 8. Run out of bounds by Kendrick Lewis. Boy, first downs today have been very successful for Florida. Ole Miss coming into this game had forced their opponents into more third downs than any other team in the league, meaning they had been pretty good on first and second down defensively, but Florida having a pretty good go at it today. And the other story, the flip side of that, is Ole Miss hadn't been able to move it on their first down.
Yeah, and Coach Nix knows, and you heard Houston talk to Dave Baker about it, we've got to find a way to corral number 1, Percy Harvin.
Loose football. And that's what Ole Miss did. They corralled him and got the football when they have a turnover to start the second half. Kendrick Lewis comes up with the fumble recovery.
At about the 34-yard line.
Florida pick and chooses their opportunities to run Harvin to the inside. Not really an in-between the tackles guy, but this is one of those ones that was clogged up. And the young man puts it on the ground. Big hit inside. Parade Jerry wrapped around the waist. The ball comes out. Good job of hustling to get on the football. Trahan gets the recovery.
Well, Dave Archer, coming into this game, the Gators had not turned over the football. They were +9 heading into this game with Ole Miss, but they have coughed it up twice. A little bit of reverse. Here's McCluster. Inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line. Boy, Ole Miss needed something to spark them, because the way that first half ended, that had to leave you with a bad taste in your mouth.
Well, you can bet that Houston talked to his team and said, we have got to make a stop on the opening drive against the Gators and we'll be fine. And that's what they did. In fact, they do the best thing, Dave. They get the turnover, and McCluster gets a good gain on first down. You talked about their first down. This is a good way to open up the drive.
Second down and 3. Eason. It's the handoff inside the 25, and that'll actually, they'll spot it at the 25, so that'll bring up a third down and about 1. He needs to get to the 24. A.J. Jones with his second tackle of the afternoon. Those fumbles, man. You talk to Urban Meyer like we have over the past 3 or 4 years, and he is about as animated when it comes to turning over the football as any coach we've been around. You know right now he's chapped.
Oh, there's no question. They came in with no turnovers, and now they're going to have to try to bite one off here on defense.
Needed a yard. They will spot it close to the 24. If the nose is on that 24, I think they'll have the first down.
Brandon Bolden.
Wait for that spot.
Stopped at about the line of scrimmage. by a host of Gator tacklers.
We're going to have to take a look at this one, Dave. Bring the chains in.
Let's see just how good that 1st and 10 line is.
Something that this Florida team has not faced this year, we talk about no turnovers, is they have not faced the sudden change situation that you practice on defense. Just enough for the first down, but something Charlie Strong has not really had to go over in a game. He's practiced it certainly on the practice field, but you do that. You spend time, Dave, on sudden change defense where a turnover comes right away and you're immediately on the field. See how Florida handles it.
Fresh set of downs for Ole Miss. McCluster in motion out of the wild rebel formation. It's the freshman Bolden inside the 20. Will pound his way down to the 17-yard line.
Number 16.
Take a look at the red zone, powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. Ole Miss has been in the red zone twice today. They've scored that touchdown. And of course, had that awkward sequence. That's a nice way to put it.
Excellent way to put it.
I was trying to find the right word for that.
They'll appreciate that.
2nd down and 3. Here comes McCluster in motion again. Direct snap to Bolden. He'll work the left side. Breaks a tackle. Still driving. And Florida never got him on the ground.
Number 34, Brandon Bolden.
Well, Bolden is the big back, 220 pounds, and he shows you why. He runs through that tackle right there, a major right. He's an excellent tackler, and then Joe Hayden with a number of other Gators finally get him out of bounds. You're right, Dave. He never touched the ground here. They finally pushed him to the sideline.
3rd down and about a half a yard. 5 consecutive running plays, and Ole Miss will split Jevin Sneed here to the near side, and here comes McCluster in motion. The snap to Bolden. He'll keep it, working the right side. He might have lost a half a yard. Brandon Spikes read it well and made the play, and now you're looking at a 4th down situation, and Houston Nutt wastes no time in calling his field goal unit onto the field.
Well, this time Bolden makes a mistake. He skates to the outside, and you can see Brandon Spikes shadowing him all the way, and that's the anchor of the Gator defense right there. And when you got out his line of sight, he was going to put you on the ground.
Boy, 9 tackles for Spikes today. A sack and 2 tackles for loss. Here comes Joshua Sheen to attempt a 34-yarder. The hold is good and the kick is solid.
That's a win for the Gator defense, Dave.
And Ole Miss on the other side will take the 3. 17-10 is our score at the Swamp. Ole Miss strikes first here in the 2nd half. We'll come back, have more. Our All-Tell Game of the Week right here on Raycom Sports. It's brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota keys are featured on raycomsports.com. Texas Pete's scoring drive, not many yards in this drive, but it did result in a 33-yard field goal by Joshua Sheen. 3 minutes and 36 seconds taken off the clock. It's a touchdown game. Florida leads it by that touchdown. Even 11 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Brandon James will be pinned about 2 yards deep in the end zone, and here he comes. Out to the 20.
Number 25, Brandon James on the return.
Well, SEC fans, especially Ole Miss fans, might remember this one back in 2003. It's the last time these two teams met down here. Bashawn Pearson scored from a yard out with a little over a minute left for the 20-17 lead. The Rebels sealed the win over the Gators on the final drive. Chris Leak was intercepted by Eric Oliver. Eli Manning and Ole Miss came away with a 20-17 win. Gators were ranked 24th at the time. And look at this, since 2000, this Florida-Ole Miss series, the average margin here between these two clubs is the best in terms of rivalries in this league, just 4 points. Loose football. Ole Miss has it. Can you believe this? 3 fumbles from the Gators today. Marcus Tillman comes up with the recovery.
It's a read play for Tim Tebow. Brandon James in the backfield. He's reading the edge. Do I pull it? Do I keep it? And James obviously thought he was taking it out, and so he didn't take it. Marcus Tillman's there.
This is a team with no turnovers through 3 games. They have put it on the ground 3 times. They've actually put it on the ground 4 times. They were lucky to recover 1 of them. Here's Snead to throw on first down, incomplete. But Dave, if you're going to win on the road, I think for Ole Miss, they've got to start to take advantage of this. They can't keep kicking field goals and expect to walk out of here with a win.
No question about it. And that was what that whole play there was designed for. Normally your play action passing protection is your best. That time Florida still got pressure on Snead, and Snead looks a little bit unsettled at quarterback. He's had a tough time getting it going. Just 4 of 13 on the day.
Here's Snead. Quick drop going to the end zone. Batted around, incomplete. Janoris Jenkins working with Mike Wallace. Jenkins, that true freshman who they think will be a star before it's over.
He does a good job. He's playing off, first of all, and it's going to be tough down and near the red zone to throw a deep route with a corner playing that far off. Mike Wallace is their best deep threat. You mentioned it, Dave. Janoris Jenkins did a great job, the freshman.
First and 10 line there by Academy Sports. Excuse me, down and distance marker. Here's the screen pass to Kadora Eason. Touchdown, Ole Miss. My goodness. How about the play from Cordera Eason?
Well, we hadn't seen the screen pass from the Rebels all day, and so they set it up. Great pass rush. They let it go. And the big fella Orr is out in front. He gets a block right there. An outstanding job of Eason jumping over a Gator to get in the end zone.
Previous play is under further review.
I would assume that review is whether Eason stepped on the sideline as he was going into the end zone, as he hurdled the Gator defender. But just a great job of setting up the screen. You see the big fella Orr gets out in front, 74. He's going to get a block right there, but watch the hurdle. And then Eason gets in the end zone. Let's check his feet now.
I don't think there's any question that's a touchdown.
Well, this will be a great angle right here. Well, jumps over Marky Anderson right there. And it looked like he pivoted on that foot at the 1 and got in. Let's go down. Maybe Dave Baker had a better look at it. Dave?
Arch, it's not a better look, but what I'm looking at today is what this Ole Miss team is doing now. And as good as this thing was set up, what a great pass by Jevin Snead. Just got it over the fingertips of 2 rushing Gator linebackers. A great throw by Snead.
After review, video evidence confirms the ruling on the field. It is a touchdown.
Boy, Buzz makes a great point, Dave, and the throw by Snead, because he really had been struggling to that point. That's only his 5th completion on the day, but to be enough of an actor to draw the rush and then get it over the Gator defenders and drop it in there so Eason could make the play. It was an excellent throw.
Well, after the 18-yard touchdown reception, here comes Joshua Sheen. We are tied at the Swamp. 2 Gator fumbles here to start the second half have allowed the Rebels to produce 10 points and even the battle here at the Swamp. Back in a moment. $17 apiece. 10:30 to go here in the third quarter. Look at our Texas Beat scoring drive. Just 18 yards, 19 seconds, but a big touchdown. Eason with the 18-yard reception. For Jevin Snead, he's now 5 out of 15 for 73 yards. A touch and an interception. Justin Sparks has done an amazing job on kickoffs, kind of pinning James in the corner. This time allows James to take it at the 5 with a little bit of room. That's always a scary proposition. Not over the 30 to the 32-yard line. But let's go back to that touchdown, and you really like the play call.
Yeah, well, you catch the Gators in a perfect situation. They're going to buzz this guy out to try to take away the throw to this guy, which sets up the screen. There's a huge hole for the screen. Now watch how good a throw Jevin Sneed makes. Here's your screen back right here. Eason jumps in the end zone, but what an excellent throw by Jevin Sneed to clear Carlos Dunlop just over the top. And now watch how close this is on the sideline. Eason tiptoes the sideline to get in.
So the Gators will take it to 33. Tebow keeps it with a shovel pass to his tight end, Hernandez, and Ole Miss with a swarming defense. Boy, have they got some emotion on their side at this moment. Tony Fine and Ashley Palmer combined for the tackle. How about that to start the second half? 4 plays and 2 fumbles. And he is a man that just doesn't allow it. You know, you put the football on the ground for him, you don't play it. And as he said, I don't care if you're a superstar. Goes to Demps, and it went nowhere.
Dave, I hear a little buzzing of some boos in this Gator crowd. Garrett Jerry there to make that play, but it's been about turnovers, about getting the ball out and creating yourself some opportunities, and this defense has done that. Last 2 series, the Gators have had the ball, they've laid it on the ground, and subsequently Ole Miss has turned it into 10 points.
Now the Gators are looking at a 3rd and 8. The turnover story today. And some movement. Ray Jerry across the line in a hurry, but
false start. Number 76 on the offense. Penalty is 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
That's because the Gator moved quickly. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
Dave, you know, as well as this Ole Miss defense has been playing, they've been aided by the fact that Florida's obviously shot itself in the foot. But on 1st and 2nd down, Dan Mullen was telling us that last year they got 40% man-to-man coverage, and this year they've gotten 4. They were hoping to get that running game going today to get some more man coverage looks, but between good defense and turnovers, it hadn't happened.
Thanks, Buzz, and they'll throw on 3rd down, and here comes some pressure. Tebow doing all he can to keep it alive. Complete, looking for Keyston Moore. He was well shy of the 1st down. Boy, Tebow has had, for the most part today, no time to get set in that pocket.
And you're not going to have a chance to see any man coverage versus 3rd and long, 3rd and 13 here, Dave. And a good job again. Hardy and Paray Jerry get in on Tebow, and he has to try to dump it to a back. Boy, you know, you talk about Florida shooting themselves in the foot. Well, Ole Miss has shot themselves in the foot here today, too. It's been pretty even. They dropped an interception. It ends up being a touchdown, and they don't get the score before the half. So I don't know that Florida's handing this game to them.
Flag down at the line of scrimmage. An awkward punt. Chaz Henry did all he could just to get rid of the punt, but I'm wondering if Ole Miss didn't jump the gun.
Henry's punt out of bounds at about the 45. Flag on the play.
Even if it was offsides on Ole Miss, it should be.
Illegal shift on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards, added to the out-of-bounds spot. 1st down.
Wow. That just makes it even better for Ole Miss. And the Gators having somewhat of a meltdown here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this is the 3rd series for Ole Miss in the 2nd half, and this is the deepest they've been, the Gator 46.
Sneed throws, batted out of the air by Joe Hayden. He was looking for Mike Wallace.
Boy, he had him too, Dave. This is a play where Jevin Sneed has got to throw the ball to the end zone. Mike Wallace, good pressure. Give credit for the pressure that Gators get on Sneed, but a good job of Joe Hayden, that athleticism at corner, to tip it away. But Wallace was there. If he'd had a chance to get it out there, he had a chance for a score.
The Gator crowd that was so quiet a moment ago now making some noise. Here's McCluster. We'll only get a couple on the play.
Flopping Bolden and McCluster around. This time McCluster takes a snap at quarterback. The Spikes and his boys rally on defense to make the play.
How about Duke on top of Virginia? David Cutcliffe, the former Ole Miss coach. If I'm not mistaken, the Blue Devils looking for their 3rd win of the season already. Here we go, 3rd and 9 here at the Swamp. McCluster will throw it. Pass is caught. Shea Hodge inside the 25, down to the 23. Coverage by Joe Hayden.
Dave, this ball looks like it comes out late too as Shea Hodge makes the catch initially, but did a good job of Joe Hayden stripping it, and did he hang on to it? Watch right at the end as Hayden swipes. Does he keep it pinned to his body? Certainly looked like he did.
1st and 10 Ole Miss. Wild Rebel formation. And a timeout taken by Florida. Dexter McCluster had a little bit of room, but actually, I wonder if there was a timeout.
No, signal is a Florida timeout. Urban Meyer wants that play reviewed.
Florida has called timeout to challenge the previous play.
Well, he just got that timeout.
McCluster fakes the little QB draw and then throws it. Now watch the right hand pin it to the leg. We've got a great shot from the end zone of this play that'll really be a defining shot. Here it is right here. Watch the right hand pin it against the side.
His arm is under it. That's got to be a catch. That has got to be a catch. He had his arm underneath the football.
Well, I just don't see the ball. I see that the ball may have contacted the ground, but with the hand between the ground and the ball, which would make it a catch.
I'll be surprised if that's overturned. Let's go down to Dave Baker. Buzz.
Dave, as you well know, got to be conclusive to overturn it. The one thing about this, though, I believe that was the first drive this year that was started against the Gators in Florida territory. Urban Meyer's keys to winning: field position. Nothing is bigger for Urban Meyer than field position. And even today, with the other mistakes they've made, they've not done a job that he likes in terms of field position.
Yeah, but the Gators haven't even crossed midfield here in the 3rd quarter. Look at the instant replay numbers. We've had 13 plays overturned. I just don't see this one being overturned. I think it's certainly worth the challenge by Urban Meyer.
Dave, this is one of those plays, had it been called incomplete, I'm not sure you could have said it wasn't incomplete, too.
Right.
It was one of those where whatever was called on the field, I don't know if it's definitive enough to flip what the referees called on the field.
The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Raycom Sports. This broadcast and copyright presentation, any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the SEC and Raycom Sports is prohibited. Well, Hubert Owens about to take that headset off, it appears, and give us a call, and that will be a big call.
After review, video evidence confirms that the ball hit the ground prior to possession. It is incomplete. The next down will be 4th down.
Wow.
You never know. You never know what they see. Certainly looked to be like Shea Hodge's hand was underneath the football.
Well, that's interesting. I just didn't see a conclusive amount of evidence.
Operator, please reset the game clock. 7 minutes, 32 seconds.
Well, that's huge. I mean, now you're looking at 4th and 9.
Yeah, whenever you have the discussion after the review, it's usually about where the ball needs to be placed again and clock situation, and that's what they've done there, is adjust the clock.
And now you, instead of 1st and 10 down around the 20, you're looking at a punting situation. Brandon James at the 5. Florida does retain their timeout. this get to the end zone? Yes, it will. And the Gators will take over at the 20-yard line. Oh, we've got just your routine SEC game here. Back after your local stations. Today's game is brought to you by Alltel, the official wireless partner of fans.
First and 10 at the 20.
Oh, a heads-up call by Urban Meyer and his staff up in the booth to get that timeout called in the nick of time. And the Gators will take over at the 20. Here's Harvin. First down to the 33-yard line. A gain of 13. Brought down by Kentrell Lockett. And Percy Harvin has now touched the ball 13 times.
Now Harvin's going to get one of his big guys out in front. That's Hernandez blocking the tight end. Does a good job of banging into somebody. And then Harvin again showing his strength at the end of the run.
Boy, look at the average field position in this game. Or here in the third quarter. Looks like Lockett traveling off to that Ole Miss sideline. We'll return after a word from the SEC.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators.
Gators line up in a hurry. We return to the swamp. First and 10. Loose football again. That is fumble number 5. The Gators have lost 3.
Tebow and Harvin are having a discussion in the huddle. Now let's see where Tebow puts this ball. Harvin said he put it on his hip and he never felt the ball. That's the mesh point or the handoff point. The quarterback is responsible for that. He's got to put it into the stomach of the running back on the play.
So now they're looking at it second down and 11. Over the middle, pass is caught by Lewis Murphy. First down over the 45 to the 47-yard line. Patrick Trahan with the tackle.
Number 7, Patrick Trahan makes the tackle.
Zone coverage. Murphy's going to drag underneath.
First down.
Just drop it off the Murphy, dragging versus the zone, and he gets north and south. It's a simple throw for Tebow.
Now the Gators line up quickly. They will check to the sidelines. Tebow, pressure comes again. He's dropped, and they'll say he's down. Greg Hardy. His third tackle today, his first sack of the afternoon.
Run down behind the line of scrimmage.
Excuse me, his second sack of the afternoon. This is a young man coming off a stress fracture in his foot.
Dave, this is a kid that's played in 23 career games and has 16 career sacks. So all he does is get to the quarterback. 2 of those coming today.
How about last year's 18.5 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. A monster. Looks like Ole Miss going to bring some pressure again on a second down and 19. We'll back off. Pass is caught. I believe Murphy, they'll say incomplete. Out of bounds. That'll bring up a third down.
Good job of Ole Miss getting back in their zones. Ashley Palmer, the linebacker, made that a tough throw to Murphy. Tyrone Nix's defense playing really well.
You know, Arch, it just looks like Florida, you know, we talk about it a lot, but is there some validity to this in terms of there's no rhythm offensively right now?
Well, I think you got to credit Ole Miss's defense. I think the defense has created some problems. They can't run the ball the way they want to. They're forcing them into passing situations. Here, 3rd and long.
3rd and 19. Pressure again. Tebow flushed out of the pocket. He's hit, and it's incomplete. Who else but Greg Hardy? He's just a playmaker.
4th and 19.
That's another opportunity. Tebow escapes to his right. Now he's going to have Keyston Moore open right now on the sideline, but he turns it down to throw the ball back to the inside. So you see Keyston Moore, 33 right there. He is not making Tim Tebow-like decisions right now, David. He talked about why does this offense struggle a little bit. you start pressing a little bit as a quarterback when things don't start happening, and you start seeing things that aren't there.
Chaz Henry punts it away. Marche Green out to the 27-yard line. Well, all season long, Champion Apparel will be showcasing the tradition and history of the SEC. And today we show you something that Urban Meyer brought to the Gators. The team singing of the school fight song, the Orange and Blue, following each and every home game. They sing in the northwest corner of the stadium with their fans and the pride of the Sunshine Band. And that's our champion. How you play. Here's McCluster in motion. Inside handoff. Taken by Brandon Bolden, who's up over 50 yards. Now right about 50 yards on 9 carries.
Brandon Spikes tackle. That's 10 tackles now for the junior linebacker. Had 10 last week against Tennessee.
Coming off that 131 tackle season. Think about that. 131 stops.
This makes 3 games in a row he's had 10+ tackles. He missed opening game against Hawaii.
Here's McCluster in motion, but the inside handoff again will go to Bolden. He's about a yard shy of that first down line. Lawrence Marsh will get credit for the stop.
Big fella Orr, preseason All-America. Great job against Carlos Dunlap. Michael Orr, number 74.
He's our Polaris ATV's toughest player of the game. A guy that turned down a lucrative opportunity to go to the National Football League to come back and be with his buddies and Houston Nutt for his final season.
Yeah, he wanted to finish up his career, wanted to play with Coach Nutt.
Well, he'll need to step it up here on 3rd down and a yard. And Bolden dives for the first down.
It's a good spot. Bolden, they're trying to hit it straight ahead. They just want a half a yard. Bolden gets bounced to the outside and does a great job of running through the tackle. Spikes tries to get him to the ground, but it wasn't before Bolden gets the first down.
Check in with Dave Baker.
Dave, let's see if the Rebels can pick up on an injury. Joe Hayden just bent over and could hardly move his right foot. He's not out of the game. Let's see how mobile he is.
They're going to throw that way, and the pass is caught at midfield by Dexter McCluster, and that'll be good enough for a Rebel first down, and they're inside Gator territory. Janoris Jenkins on the coverage.
Joe Hayden still limping. Great sight by Buzz that time. Hayden had to come all the way across the formation to play the slot. That's where McCluster lined up. And Snead threw the ball out there for the big pickup.
First and 10. 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. McCluster out of the wild Rebel formation keeps it inside the 45 down to the 44-yard line. If he keeps his feet, he could have gotten a bigger chunk of grass. What makes that wild Rebel formation so successful? Obviously last year when they're running it at Arkansas and you've got McFadden and Jones, you know why it's successful. You know, good players here, but quite not that level.
Well, they're not Felix Jones and Darren McFadden, but Dexter McCluster and Bolden have done a nice job. It allows the offensive line to come off the football. You stretch it with the guy coming across in formation, and you try to find that crease. McCluster's the speed guy, Bolden the power back.
Jevin Snead will get the shotgun snap. Throw it over the middle. Pass is caught. Mike Wallace spun backwards. They will mark him at about the 40-yard line, about let's call it a yard and a half shy of the first down. Janoris Jenkins with yet another tackle for the Gators.
Better job by Ole Miss this time. They sprinted the quarterback twice in the first half and were not able to get him out on the edge. Better job this time to get Snead outside. A clear look to Wallace, and now 3rd and short.
See our Woodman of the world. Scoreboard in the upper right corner. Maryland now on top of Clemson. Here we go, 3rd and 2 out of the wild Rebel. Or
I would think you have to. It's been good. It's been good for him.
They'll split Snead to the top. McCluster at quarterback. He will keep it. Big hole up the middle. McCluster to the 30. Still on his feet. He will take it to the house. Touchdown, Rebels.
Number 22, Dexter McCluster. A 40-yard Ole Miss touchdown run.
Dexter McCluster, a read for him as Bolden comes back in formation. He's going to come across the formation. He reads it. Does he hand it? No, he keeps it straight through the middle. And a great job in the middle by Davin Geralds, the center, to get the big fella block for Florida up front. Lawrence Marsh.
40 yards. And Ole Miss trying to put their 24th point on the board, and they do. Down 17-7 at the half. Ole Miss now leads 24-17. The Wild Rebel attack is going wild in the swamp.
Whenever you get long run, Dave, you got to have good blocking down the field. Here's Shea Hodge locked up with Major Wright, and then McCluster runs right through Wright. We talked a lot about Percy Harvin as the smallest player. Good job there by Cluster running through. Spikes was a little confused about where the run play was going, trying to fill. He over pursued to the outside. McCluster, the speed cut back to the inside, made Spikes miss.
Well, we mentioned Felix Jones and Darren McFadden. Well, from what I've seen today, these guys aren't far off in Wild Rebel formation with Dexter McCluster and Brandon Bolden working in tandem.
Cluster came in averaging 8.2 yards a carry out of that Wild Rebel formation. Just added to that.
Well, 22 plays out of the Wild Rebel formation coming into today, and they were averaging over 10 yards a pop.
Kicking off for Ole Miss, number 89.
McCluster, 7 carries, 58 yards. Bolden, 11 for 55. But the big numbers on the top of your screen. Ole Miss 24-17. James will have a great opportunity here from the 6-yard line. How great? How about out to the 50-yard line? If you're not going to pin him in the corner, you better kick it in a mile in the air. Gator fans, you'll have your chance next week to see this club again at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. They'll head over to Arkansas. Of course, the Gator defense being tested right now, but they've been up to the challenge all season. They'll try to slow down Casey Dick and that Arkansas offense. That's next Saturday, 12:30 Eastern. And be sure to log on to SECRoadTripPlanner.com and find the quickest routes and info traveling around the SEC. Brought to you by Regions Bank. First and 10. They'll fake it to Harvin and then throw it to him. 3, 4, 5, 6 white jerseys surround him. That is the 15th touch today for Percy Harvin. The Gators have run 47 plays.
Well, that touchdown by McCluster is like a shot of adrenaline into this defense. And it looks like Ole Miss is just a step ahead of Florida on virtually every one of these plays. That time they wanted to look down the field, throw it to Harvin in the flat. But Paray Jerry, the nose guard, out there to get involved in the play.
Gators get the play off. It'll be the last one of the third quarter, and it's dropped. The Gators put the ball on the ground to end the third quarter, much like they did to begin the third quarter. Ole Miss has stepped up to the challenge on the road at the Swamp. They'll take a 7-point lead into the fourth quarter when we return right here on Raycom Sports. A little bit of a shocked look on the faces of some of these fans. The Gators trail 24-17. 15 minutes to play in this one unless we've got some extra football in store. Gators averaging just 2.6 yards per rush today. Looking at a 3rd down and 10 in the opening play of the fourth quarter. Over the middle. Pass is caught at the 41 by Riley Cooper, but he'll be shy of the first down. So you're looking at a 4th down and maybe a yard and a half. stats through 3 quarters. Gators only 60 yards rushing on the ground. Percy Harvin with 52 of those.
Turnovers down there at the bottom, Dave. The 3 turnovers and 2 that opened the half that allowed Ole Miss to put 10 points on the board.
Rebels not very good a year ago in the 4th quarter. Here's Tebow, keeps it. He'll power and bull his way inside the 40. I think that'll be good enough for the first down, but that's something Houston Nutt, going back to that 4th quarter, he has preached that since day one. You got to finish out these games. We'll see if Ole Miss can.
Well, Tebow realized I got to go north and south. We can't stretch this out, and he bangs it in there to try to pick up the first down.
Different story from a year ago when Tim Tebow rushed 27 times for 166 yards. Today, Tebow not exactly putting up those kind of numbers. See what he does here. Percy Harvin slips his way down to the 25-yard line.
Well, you got to continue to get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and Harvin is the biggest of the bunch. Harvin's had an outstanding day, although he has laid it on the ground. It's a great job, little stutter step move there. Gets a block on the outside. Outstanding job of getting the field. Deontay Thompson, Richard, freshman wide receiver, got a block for Percy Harvin that time.
Tebow keeps it alive. Throws it, pass is caught. That'll be caught by his lineman. Good catch and grab. Bouncy at center. Thought he had a little something working, but they will bring that one back.
I was trying to shovel it to Keaston Moore or somebody, but I love the fact that as soon as Bouncy caught it, he got north and south.
No hesitation whatsoever.
Big fellow went north and south with it.
Illegal touching on the offense. Number 56. That penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Lockett with great pressure around the edge of Watkins.
Check in with Dave Baker. Buzz.
Dave, I'm really struck about the mood down here on the Florida sideline. I mean, there's a total absence of emotion. Nobody's mad. Nobody's trying to kick anybody in the tail. Tim Tebow, one of the most emotional guys in college football, has shown none today.
Good point, Buzz. And you would think after what happened to USC on Thursday, might be a little bit more fire. Lewis Murphy breaks a tackle.
Some of it, Dave, has to do with Tebow's not playing very good today. He's had a tough day. He's just struggled a little bit.
Look at our AP top 5. And of course, the big one coming up, Georgia hosting Alabama today at number 8. But Southern Cal losing to Oregon State on Thursday night. LSU, Mississippi State later. Of course, Florida sitting there at number 4. Second down and 9. James in the slot. Tebow looking, has some time, but now gonna have to pull it down and run it. He's got plenty of room to do so. Tebow to the 10, down to the 5. They will spot it at the 3. A 20-yard pickup for Tim Tebow.
They're going to catch him in man coverage down the field, and all Tebow has to do is make a big defensive lineman miss from Ole Miss. He gets a good block down the field, but watch him make him miss right here. Outstanding shake in the hole. Makes Poe miss. That's a tough assignment for Poe. 340 trying to tackle the Heisman Trophy winner.
Tebow will keep it himself. He's at the 1. Tebow now with 12 carries, 14 yards when you factor in the sack yardage he has lost. We told you 27 carries for $166 a year ago. A little different afternoon here in the Swamp.
You got to credit that guy right there, Tyrone Nix. Done an outstanding job of getting this defense ready for this game. They are dialed in, trying to make a goal line stand here. It's got to be Tebow again here.
It's hard for a goal line stand when number 15's back there in the backfield for the Gators. They'll work the left side. Touchdown, Florida. The second rushing touchdown of the afternoon for Tim Tebow. That gives him 2 for the season. And the Gators with an opportunity to tie it up here in the fourth quarter.
This power football. Tebow going to go off tackle. And what you got to do is get your pad level lower than the defensive line pad level. And they do that. And then Tebow, with 230 pounds, is going to blow it in.
Jonathan Phillips to attempt the point after. And we are tied. 24 points apiece. Back to the Swamp after this. By Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. Tim Tebow showing a little bit of emotion after that touchdown to tie it up at 24.
Well, and this wasn't all he showed. As he walked down the sideline, they hand him the headset like they always do to talk to Dan Mullen. He went right into the kickoff coverage unit, huddle, and was beating people on the helmet.
This kickoff sails into the end zone, and Mike Wallace takes a knee, and Ole Miss will bring it out to the 20. Be sure to go to raycomsports.com for a variety of SEC football highlights and features, archived videos, sweepstakes, podcasts, and info on our SEC Game of the Week. raycomsports.com, your link on the web to the SEC. Well, I have a feeling that the 90,000 on hand that are rooting for the Gators are about to get on their feet here. Gut check time at the Swamp. Dexter McCluster out over the 25 to the 26-yard line in that wild rebel formation. A bobbled snap, but McCluster held on to it.
Yeah, he barely held on to it as Bolden went by. Really kind of lucky Bolden didn't knock the ball out of his hands as they made the fake handoff. But McCluster controlled it and got a good pickup on first down.
Look at our Woodman of the World scoreboard. McCluster takes the snap and is dropped for a loss of 6, maybe 7. Carlos Dunlap, perhaps the best athlete on that front four, with a big-time play.
Now this is one Dexter wishes he'd hand off. They were trying to pull the fullback to get him out in front. They were going to make that a sweep play, pull Jason Cook, the fullback, to get him out in front, but Dunlap blew it up. And Bolden was standing all alone on the other side of the field. Had he gotten the football, he had a lot of room to run.
Well, I think the crowd will tell you if Ole Miss makes this 3rd down and 12 conversion. I'll let you just listen and watch. And Houston Nutt will call a timeout. And we will step aside as well. A big 3rd down when we come back to Florida Field. Tied at 24, 10:07 to play. Big 3rd down coming up for Ole Miss. 3rd down and 12. See our Academy Sports down and distance marker.
This is where you're Jevin Steed. If you're Ole Miss, you got to take care of the ball down here in your own end.
Will fire, hits Eason, but he's 2 yards shy of the first down. Janoris Jenkins with his 5th tackle.
Gators just play zone coverage, make Sneed throw the ball underneath, and then Janoris Jenkins rallies up to make the tackle to force an Ole Miss punt.
Rob Park to punt away.
star. Number 52 on the offense. That penalty was 5 yards for the previous spot. It's still 4th down.
Dave, coaches talk about the little things. They've done a great job of staying in their lanes on this punt return unit. They've done a good job of limiting Brandon James, but they've got to do it again here. This is when he thrives, when they need the big play.
Clark averaging just shy of 40 yards a punt. Sends this one down to Brandon James, a big play specialist, looking for another on his resume. Out to the 45-yard line. Ole Miss has done a marvelous job of containing the return game of Florida today. But the Gators have the football. Well, here's a look at our Nissan Heisman in the SEC, and we don't have to go too far to find a number of Heismans right here in Gainesville. Since he's still playing, how about Tim Tebow, first sophomore to win the award? Tebow set the NCAA quarterback record by running for 23 touchdowns. A year ago, 55 total a year ago. Trying to improve on that here at 08. That pass is complete inside the 40 down to the 38 to Percy Harvin. Kendrick Lewis on the coverage. That's the 8th catch today for Harvin. He's up over 100 yards.
Oh, we've seen Percy running with the football, this time from the slot, working down through the field. And that's Tim Tebow's 171st pass without an interception now.
Of course, a Florida record. Percy Harvin, 17 touches, 197 yards. Harvin works in the slot to the near side. Here's pressure. Tebow dropped again. Ted Laurent playing big on that D-line. The 3rd sack today for the Ole Miss defense.
Yeah, this is a Florida offensive line that's given up 3 sacks all year. 3 today from the Ole Miss defensive front. A good job on the little twist play up front by Laurent to get to the passer.
Second down and 17. Over the middle, passes dropped. Carl Moore, the junior, out of Roseville, California, hit him right in the numbers.
He'd only come in with 2 receptions on the day, or on the season.
It'll be 3rd and 17 at the 45.
Marcus Gilbert, the man down for Florida.
And he's the young man that's come in to replace Jim Tart. So now they'll have to go 3 deep at the left guard spot. You only hope that Gilbert could get back in the game. Boy, those big fellas up front battling. You just never know when someone's going to fall from behind and on your leg, and certainly that's what it looks like happened to Marcus Gilbert.
Well, this is when depth has to be a huge issue, and luckily for Urban Meyer, he's been able to acquire some depth in this football team across the board. It takes a while to do that, and certainly they have it here at Florida. We will return after this. There goes Marcus Gilbert off to the bench.
And Carl Johnson, who's listed as a tackle, will slide inside and play that left guard spot.
3rd down and 17 from the 45. Tebow dancing around, trying to buy some time. We'll throw it to Harvin. He's got a lot of yards to pick up for the 1st down. He'll be 9 yards shy. Good coverage by Ole Miss.
Number 1, Percy Harvin.
I'm just really impressed with the relentless effort on defense by Ole Miss. The good pass rush to move Tebow around. Good coverage down the field. Percy runs a little delay across the middle, just trying to present himself for his quarterback. He realizes Tebow's in trouble. Here I am, get me the ball. But look how many Ole Miss Rebels get around the football to get Harvin on the ground.
Yeah, this team speed defensively, from my impression of today, has impressed me more than anything about Ole Miss. I mean, they have some speed across the board on the defensive side of the football.
They really do, and they've had a lot of hats to the football virtually every time Florida's had a ball carrier in the open field.
Delay of game coming against the Gators.
Delay of game. Number 17 on the offense. 5 yards. It's still 4th down.
think Ole Miss will decline that penalty and still make it a tough punt for Chaz Henry.
And this is a situation, Dave, where most teams, most special teams units
by the defense, still 4th down,
will keep their defense on the field, and that's exactly what Ole Miss has done. All they've done is send in a returner, and they've kept their defense on the field to try to protect against any fake.
Henry will try to just pooch it inside the 10. Fair catch called for by Green. He takes it at the 10. Well, Ole Miss has lost some tough ones this year. Cordero Eason scored the go-ahead touchdown at number 20 Wake Forest with a minute left. And the Deke Sam Swank kicked the game winner, 41-yard field goal for the 30-28 win. Then last week against Vandy, Dexter McCluster was going in for the go-ahead touchdown late in the 4th quarter, but the fumble in the end zone. And the doors were covered. Vandy leaves Oxford with that 6-point win. Boy, Vandy also had 2 goal line stands as well in that game. Here's McCluster. Out to the 15-yard line. Joe Hayden back on the field with the tackle.
Seen the wild rebel formation virtually exclusively here in the second half. Jevin Sneed has thrown a couple of passes in the second half, but it's been mainly McCluster working from the quarterback spot. Sneed back in the game now.
On 2nd and 6. Nowhere to run for Brandon Bolden. A.J. Jones with the tackle is 4th today. It is apparent to me that in terms of running the football, if Ole Miss is going to do that, it's going to have to be out of the wild rebel formation.
And they're trying to show them a lot of different looks, but the wild rebel has really given them their best opportunity to make plays, and there you see the numbers. But at some point, Jevin Sneed's going to have to complete a pass for him, I think, to win this football game.
Hey, he's going to have to make a play. On 3rd and 6. Wide open down the far side. Shea Hodge will go the distance. Touchdown, Ole Miss. There are no flags. 85 huge yards. And Jevin Sneed just made a play.
Play action fake. It's always the play action fake. It freezes things. You see the corner jump up, and not enough width from Major Wright, the safety, who has to cover up Shea Hodge, who's running down the sidelines. Great read by Jevin Sneed, not to throw that underneath route, but to take the shot and find Shea Hodge on the go route.
8th touchdown pass of the year for Jevin Sneed. Point after. Up and good by Joshua Seen. Back in a moment. 31-24. Just under 5.5 to play here at the Swamp. Most of the 90,000 in shock at this point. 4th-ranked team in America. Down a touchdown.
This is a defense that's giving them 6.5 points per game. 31 on the day for Ole Miss.
Here's James from the 12. Out to the 32-yard line. Let's go back to that touchdown from Jevin Sneed to Shea Hodge.
Yeah, here's Shea Hodge, Dave, but I want you to watch this corner right here. His job is to play the flat. Now he gets threatened, freeze it right there. He's threatened, but where's Major Wright? He's nowhere to be found. He's got to cover that outside half. He didn't get there. Jevin Sneed reads it, and it's a walk in the park for Shea Hodge.
So it was pretty simple for Jevin Sneed. If they don't cover the short route, go there.
Nothing to hold Major Wright back to the inside. He should immediately got width right away to take away that outside throw.
Over the middle, Aaron Hernandez out to the 45-yard line, and now you're going to see Florida try to work this quick offense. They're going to need a couple of scores here unless they decide to go for 2 if they can get in the end zone.
Makes the stop at the 45. 14-yard
timeout situation, 2 apiece.
Yeah, a lot of time left. I think that Tebow would almost like to be in a little bit more of an up-tempo situation. But right now, a lot of time, one score down, we'll see him work the regular offense.
Harvin in the slot to the near side. Across the middle, he gets the pass. Harvin bouncing off some guys. He's to the 40-yard line. Gain of 15 on the play. Finally, Jamarcus Sanford brings him down, but another missed tackle. We have Ole Miss for 10 missed tackles today.
He's taking some shots.
And Harvin has been, you know, coaches told us, both Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer, that we want to get Percy Harvin more involved in the offense. We feel he's healthy enough. He has 18 touches today.
The way Ole Miss is playing defense and playing zone, Harvin's catching balls underneath, but he's taking some big shots from linebackers. He ran through the shot there from Palmer, but he's taking some big licks.
Actually make it 19 touches today for Percy Harvin. 153 yards through the air, 67 on the ground, and well, that's not good for a guy who handles the ball so much like he does, to be having that left hand being worked on. Empty set again on 1st down and 10. Down at the 30-yard line. They'll spot it inside the 30, so that'll be a 1st down. Lewis Murphy tackled by Sanford, but he picks up 11 on the play.
Dave, this is something we hadn't seen to this point, was somebody making a big-time catch for Tebow. Tebow's going to get pressured again, but he escapes to his right. Now he needs somebody to make a catch. This is a high throw, not a great throw, but he puts it on Murphy. And Murphy'd had a tough time coming up with a couple of low grabs. He climbs the ladder to make a big catch for his quarterback there.
And Percy Harvin back in the game for Florida. He sits in the slot to the top. Tebow looking for him over the middle. Pass is caught down to the 15-yard line. That's another 1st down. Boy, big chunks of yardage right now for Florida on this offensive possession.
Harvin's working against Jamarcus Sanford, the safety. Watch a little shake, make him miss, get to the inside, and excellent recognition of zone coverage. You didn't see Percy run through there. He shut it down in that zone so Tebow could put the ball on him.
Another 1st down for Florida. Looks like man coverage to the top. Pressure comes from Ole Miss. To the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Lewis Murphy, and that'll bring up 2nd down. Gators back in the red zone as we look at this red zone powered by Honda generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. And Urban Meyer can't stand field goals in the red zone, and they certainly don't accept one right here, I wouldn't think.
No, this is not where they want to settle for 3 in this situation. Good job again by Tyrone Nix on the defensive side, dialing up a blitz to try to rush Tebow's decision-making. Made him overthrow it deep corner.
3:34 to go. Some more pressure coming. Full option near side. Here's Harvin. Gets a couple of great blocks. Touchdown, Florida. They made it look easy.
2 great blocks, Dave, out on the edge. Just a simple option play, and they catch Ole Miss in man coverage. They bring the safety through the middle, man coverage on the outside. Keyston Moore's going to get the block to the left. Aaron Hernandez is going to get the block to the inside. There's Keyston Moore's block. 2 great blocks. Hernandez and Moore get Harvin in the end zone.
Jonathan Phillips to attempt a point after. It's blocked. It sails out of the end zone. Are you kidding me? Holy cow. I believe Kentrell Lockett got there first.
And Urban Meyer feels like there was somebody that jumped in the middle, ran up and jumped over him. I think he initially thought he was helped over. Kentrell Lockett is the guy that got his hands on it. And he wants to know whether he helped over to get the block. Cannot assist a player. Can't use another player to propel yourself in the air.
Jump on another players back due to injury concerns, but I didn't see any of that. That was just a flat-out block by Ole Miss. I just don't see it. Guys hurdling, perhaps, but I mean, this was just a good effort by Ole Miss. Shocking. Who would have ever thought that a blocked extra point would be the difference in this one? 31-30 with 3:28 to play.
Okay, Lockett's going to jump through the middle. Go ahead and roll. He's right in here, guys, right in here. Watch the jump right there through the middle. Just a great jump by Lockett to time that up. Something you work on in practice all the time, and it never comes off perfectly like that one. Lockett does a good job of jumping through the gap.
Of all the things I've seen today, I would not have expected the point after to have been blocked in a situation like this. That's just an amazing sequence of events, how quickly Florida moved the football down the field. I mean, they had trouble all day moving the football, specifically here in the second half. They looked good on that drive. This kick down to the 8-yard line, taken by Mike Wallace. Wallace out to the 32-yard line. Urban Meyer put together a plan to win. Great defense. They came in averaging 6.3 yards allowed. They've given up 31 today. The kicking game has struggled a little bit today. The punt returns. Give Ole Miss a lot of that credit in terms of the kicking game. They've done a nice job containing Florida in that department.
And you'd be willing to, you could probably make a lot of money knowing that there's a board at Ole Miss somewhere that look very similar to the Houston Nuts got.
Bolden, only a yard perhaps. Let's check in with Dave Baker.
Dave, I'm really surprised that Ole Miss isn't going with the deluxe Wild Rebel, because as you look at the clock, it's still running. Florida's got all 3 of its timeouts left. I know you want to get first downs, obviously, but you don't risk a handoff, and they have been so successful with it in the second half. I'm just surprised they haven't gone to it.
You're going to see it right here, Buzz.
Here's McCluster. The Gators filling up all those gaps. And now Urban Meyer wants to use a timeout. Brandon Spikes in on the tackle. That'll stop the clock with 2:27 to play in this one. We'll return after this from the SEC. 31-30, 2:27 to play. Florida just burned their first timeout. Of course, earlier in the half, Urban Meyer with a challenge and won the challenge, got that timeout back. So 2 more timeouts remaining for Florida and 2 timeouts left for Ole Miss.
And credit this crowd here at the Swamp on that last play. Late snap on the silent snap count because McCluster didn't get a fake to reverse. Florida was at home to make the play on a straight run.
3rd and 9. Jevin Sneed avoided the sack, got it out close to the 40-yard line. He's still 2.5 yards shy of the first down. Jermaine Cunningham will get credit for the tackle. And Florida will use 1 more timeout, and they are down to 1.
Really a good job by Jevin Sneed there. Didn't want to throw it into coverage. Only a 2-man route, trying to get him some protection. But he does a good job of scrambling up and minimizing whatever damage. And now they're gonna kick it and try to play defense.
Let's go down to Dave Baker.
Okay, Dave, here's one for the guy next to you in the hot seat here. Now, I know you're playing field position and you're out near the 40. Do you like your defense's chances better just playing at the 40 and trying to get the first down? Or do you roll the dice and kick it to number 25 who's running out?
No, I think you have to kick this football because you got to hope that your team continues to cover like they have. And what did Urban Meyer tell us yesterday? Not many teams go 80 yards for scores. Now, they only need a field goal, but it's very difficult to move the ball the length of the field.
A wobbly. Will be a tough kick for James to field. The Gators will get out of the way, and Boy, an excellent job by Park. They kept it out of James's hands, and now once again it's not 80 yards, but it's 78 yards that the Gators will have to go.
If you're wondering, Jonathan Phillips, 40 yards, his longest kick on the year. That means Florida would need to get it down to about the 23.
Based on the Urban Meyer chart, when they get the ball in this particular area, out over the 20-yard line from the 20 to 25, they score a touchdown 36% of the time. Pass is caught by Harvin out to the 29, and they're going to have to hurry up here. One timeout left. That didn't do much for you.
But another really kind of a tough catch for a Gator receiver. Tebow has not been perfect today or dialed in like he normally is. A lot of low throws.
Over the middle, Harvin with another catch. First down out to the 42-yard line. Percy Harvin is having an unbelievable afternoon.
He gets in locked in man coverage. This is something that Tyrone Nix wanted to stay away from as much as he could, was Harvin in man coverage working against Cassius Vaughn.
13 catches, 186 yards for Harvin, both career highs. Tebow has time over the middle. Pass is caught down to the 42-yard line by Riley Cooper. Number
11. Ole Miss now, that defensive front locked on the line of scrimmage, not getting the pass rush they got earlier in the game.
And Houston Nutt wants to give his defense a chance to catch the breath. See Tracy Rocker, that defensive line coach, the great Auburn defensive end, will try to let his guys catch their breath. This is where depth has such an important role in college football.
Well, I think it's a great timeout if you're an Ole Miss Rebel, because they needed that. They were winded. They were not getting the pass rush. And what Tyrone Nix wants to do is he wants to play zone coverage to keep Harvin from getting those runs versus man coverage.
Time now for our principal financial players of the game, and Greg Hardy in a limited role is getting back to the Greg Hardy of 07. 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. But Percy Harvin, the guy has been a one-man offensive machine today.
He's been unbelievable, Dave. You know going in, the thing about it is, you know going in that, okay, we've got to make sure we don't let Tebow run around, but find Harvin and let's keep him contained. Well, and they've had a very difficult time. 82 yards rushing, 186 yards receiving. Unbelievable today by Percy Harvin.
First down and 10. Here comes Hernandez in motion. He'll stop. Lofts it up over the middle. Louis Murphy had a step, but Tebow led him by a step. Oh, there was no safety help in the end zone. That was a touchdown if they connect.
Nix dials up pressure. They're coming with pressure. They realize they can't let Tebow sit back there. But credit Florida for picking it up. Look at all the Rebels coming. But the Gators pick it up and give their quarterback an opportunity. And just couldn't quite get the ball to Murphy. You're right, Dave. That was man across the board. No safety help. That's as dangerous as it gets.
Here's Jonathan Phillips. The kicker as long as 40 yards, in case you're wondering. Tebow lofts it up again. They'll try Harvin. Off his fingertips, incomplete. Kendrick Lewis, boy, Tyrone Nix is asking a lot of his secondary to lock up man-on-man in situations like this. This time it was Lewis working on Harvin.
Well, Dave, this is a safety locked up on Harvin. Obviously can run. He came as a wide receiver. Now he plays defensive back for Ole Miss, but he's a safety locked on the best receiver, maybe the best football player on the field.
Certainly one of your top 5 in the country. You could make that argument with Percy Harvin. 71 seconds to play. 3rd down and 10. Option near side. Here's Brandon James. James needed to get to the 31. They will spot it right at the 31. Clock continues to move. Hubert Owens looking to see if he needs to bring the chains in, and he will stop the clock to do so. Let's go to Dave Baker.
Great coaching there by Urban Meyer. He was right in Hubert Owens' ear asking for the measurement. He's able to get the measurement now and still save his last timeout that he wants to hold on in case they have to complete something in the middle of the field and stop it for a field goal attempt.
Houston not happy. He felt like it's obvious one way or the other that that's shy of the 1st down marker. He wanted that clock to keep moving. Now you let Florida with an opportunity to get set, figure out what they want to do here.
Florida's short of the 1st down by about a half a football.
See, and that's what I think Houston Nutt was arguing. Like, why are you going to stop that? See?
Well, and I don't, Houston's upset with the clock will start as soon as they spot the ball. But I think if you're Florida, you don't throw it here. This has got to be a Tebow run to get the 1st down. And then you're going to either have to probably burn your timeout or try to line up quickly and throw it. This is a scenario that Houston Nutt watched just a few weeks ago when they were taking on Wake Forest.
Well, now they're going to review this play and look for the official spot. Well, I guess the feeling is if you got the replay stuff up in the booth, let's use it.
We go with the option to see if we can figure out where the knee comes down.
Oh, he's actually, this may not be a very good spot for Florida. It looks like he's dropped back at like the 33-yard line.
Yeah, the knee's down well before the 32.
Yeah, I mean, this spot will certainly help Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's at least the 32 and a half.
What Houston Nutt continues to say, if you get the spot right, the clock still moves, and with 55 seconds left, then you got decisions across the board.
Yeah, the decision at that point, Dave, is now if you're 4th in a yard and a half, do you let Tebow still run it on 3rd? This has been a pretty salty group up front for Ole Miss.
Or do you try to crank the 48-yard field goal?
Well, I don't know if Urban's feels good enough about his kicking game, especially field goal unit, to kick the long field goal.
That the ball was down at the 32-yard line. It'll be placed on the 32, and it's still 4th down.
So Florida will lose about a half a yard, maybe a full yard after this spot. And they're going to go for it.
Now this has got to be the power package with Tebow.
He's your Heisman Trophy winner. He'll keep it. Second effort may have gotten it, but I don't know. If he didn't get it, it's your ball game. And Ole Miss will walk out of here with a win.
He didn't break the 32, Dave.
And Greg Hardy led the charge for Ole Miss on that defensive front. They didn't get it. They did not get it. And Ole Miss will stop the Florida Gators at the 32-yard line.
Yeah, they're not even giving credit for gaining anything. It's the same spot it was before. This is a courtesy measurement, but you'll find that this is going to be a good yard shy. Let's go down to Dave Baker.
Kind of a double whammy on that play, guys, because what happened, you got your number 3 left guard in there because of injury for Florida, and you've got no running back that Urban Meyer had any confidence in, I don't think, because of how many times they put it on the ground today. Couple that with the push that Ole Miss has got up front from its front 4 all day, and that was a tough spot for the Gators to be in.
Well, they ran the ball to the right side, Buzz. They ran away from that injury, and really, I don't care who your running back is at that point, Tim Tebow's going to carry the football in that situation.
1st and 10 line brought to you by IKBI Incorporated. And it's been a factor in this one.
Now the ball behind the
Unbelievable. How about Houston Nutt? This is a club that could have easily come in here 4-0. They came in 2-2 with some tough losses, but they come on the road and they come into the 4th-ranked team's house in the country and pull off this kind of win, and they do it with a blocked extra point.
Dave, what's it say about what Houston Nutt has done for the change of attitude in Oxford? That's everything we heard about, was how much the attitudes change. We feel like we can win whenever we go somewhere.
Well, the clock hits 0. Houston Nutt with his first signature win as the Ole Miss Rebel head coach. They shocked Florida 31-30 here at the Swamp. Wow. Didn't see this coming, folks. The Rebels go to 3-2. We'll have more in a moment.
The Alltel SEC Game of the Week has been brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, by Regions Bank, by the new AT&T, by Sonic Drive-In, and by Woodland of the World Life Insurance Society.
90,000 fans, or a majority of them anyway, will walk out of the Swamp. Only the 2nd loss under Urban Meyer. The big play, Jevin Sneed hit Shea Hodge on a 3rd down, backed up in their own end zone. And this is what it looked like. 85 yards. Shea Hodge will take it to the end zone. Florida answered with a touchdown, but this is how it ended for the Gators. A blocked extra point. More in a moment right here on Raycom Sports.